Good evening, drones. Today we're back again for another favorite thing on my channel. We're doing another Boku no Hero overview. This time it's going to be season 3, and we also have Kaiser Shounen with us again. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm back, everybody. I'm glad to be back here. Now, one thing I need to cover, before we get started again, is that I noticed that we were pretty, honestly heated in the past 2 reviews. That is for the sake of comedy. Granted, I don't take back any of the shit that I said about this show, but I want to get across that the show isn't bad. It's not the worst thing ever. It's just overhyped and has a lot of things it needs to work on in order to actually be more than passable. So, this is just us spouting whatever, how much we can apply the laws of storytelling and our common sense onto the show. So, we're open to criticism. We're open to all that shit. But for the most part, this is us just sharing, whatever logic we can find about this series and how it succeeds and how it fails. So keep that in mind as you're watching all this.
I'm sure that all 5 people that will watch this will appreciate that sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, granted, the 5 people I'm just trying to make sure, because there will be probably 10 other people who somehow disguise their accounts or whatever from counting the view count in this video to who are probably going to spread misinformation about what we're trying to say and all that stuff.
Oh my god, 10 extra people watch this channel? Holy shit.
I know, right?
I know. I'm surprised they even have 5, but apparently I do. Jokes aside, let's actually get off to this overview. So where we left off was episode 39.
Okay, so episode 39. For kind of a first episode deal, not really all that much happens. Basically, what was going on is that the students are kind of fooling around and getting ready for the training camp, which was basically foreshadowed at the end of last season, which is basically...
Oh my god, it actually foreshadows stuff that happens. Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, granted, it was... I'm not sure when it was foreshadowed. I'm pretty sure it wasn't at the very end. I don't think they're that incompetent. But either way, so basically the students were fucking around in the school pool. But, and this was a ploy by Mineta and Denki to perv on the schoolgirls and all that shit. But honestly, I'm so sick. But honestly, I'm so sick of this, dumb gag at this point, and there's a much more egregious example coming up very soon. So
yes, I'm very much aware of it. But
yeah, so we ain't covering.
Yeah, we're not going to cover that until later. But just talking about the whole pervy thing, you can have pervert characters and make it funny. Master Roshi is an example.
I mean, early
Roshi, he's kind of,
anyways.
Huh?
I said early Roshi anyways, because Super Roshi and even late Z Roshi is just kind of
I know, but in Dragon Ball Roshi, there was kind of a charm to him,
Dragon Ball Roshi, just an entirely different manga, just starring Roshi as the main character, the ultimate old badass. Oh man, give us that manga, Toriyama. Fuck the friggin' Yamcha isekai. Where's my Roshi isekai? That's what I want.
Yeah, so it's just it's just a setup shit, it's just set up, it's yeah, we got, they want to perv, and then people are swimming because the people are perving. It's just all these dudes showed up. It's oh, what the fuck? Yeah, and it becomes like a fucking swim meet.
Yeah, but I mean that's basically what it was. The kids were competing with each other. Although I guess this also works as I don't know, some sort of way of showcasing their skills and how they apply them in different situations. Which that's fine, I guess. Showing that. Also, I'm apparently surprised that Izuku's full cowling when he's literally just swimming, just flopping around, is even faster than Ida in using his recipro burst. which was way faster back in the Stain arc. So that's weird. I'm not sure how that makes
it's a Deku
any sense.
Senshu narrative. He has every time someone gains a level in power, Deku gains 10 levels of power.
Yeah,
it's the Deku.
That's some shit.
Yeah, it's the master of narratives. Anyway, nothing really much happens. Just discussing and shit. Just a nice setup episode. So we'll go to the next episode. Episode 40.
Yeah, it's less egregious than like the other like last episode's beginning episode, where it's just mostly just exposition based on shit we already know, and it's like foreshadowing the League of Villains, trying to start shit, which is actually how this episode begins. So Tomura is like talking with Kurogiri, but like one part
laugh, maniacal laugh.
Well,
evil plans,
it's more like maniacal
plans.
salt. It's kind of more like maniacal salt, because this is a little thing that kind of just kind of upsets me about like this dialogue between Shigaraki and Tomura, is that basically, Kurogiri is like, I know why All Might irritates you so much. He represents hope and justice, and you want to destroy shit. And it's like, no fucking duh.
Yeah,
have you raised this kid for how long? I don't know, man.
I was actually wondering, because like Kurogiri's been with him for like how many years exactly? Like, he should fucking know. It's like, oh yeah, I'm dealing with a fucking psychopath. Whoops. It's like, how do you fucking miss that?
I don't know. Anyway, there's this guy.
Another thing that happens is that at this episode they dump all the UA people into a forest, and we meet another superhero team. Known as the
fucking what are they called again? The wild pussycats. Now
that reminds me of the Pussycat Dolls.
Yeah, they kind of do, but these guys are a lot less fun. I mean, they have less fun dialogue. As always, the dub kind of saves the show in terms of dialogue, honestly.
Yeah, I actually find these the wild pussycats, whatever they're called, kind of creepy or kind of like odd looking.
And not creepy, just more cringy than anything else.
Yeah, maybe
cringy. This does interestingly show like our first actual like superhero team in the show, like an actual team with a name and uniforms and shit. So
yeah, they actually do a lot. They actually mountain rescue people and stuff. And they do a lot of actually essential things to society. Like, why couldn't we see this in season 2?
I have no idea. And like season 2's job was to basically showcase the different aspects of hero society and all that stuff. If they had just branched that out a little bit more before the Stain arc and like have that be the climax of that season as is, and I wouldn't really have much of an issue. But this is a relatively welcoming addition. Next scene is basically them just fighting in the forest against like one of the Pussycats' dirt golems that she can basically create, and it's relatively pretty overpowered.
I actually think that out of all the training that these people have received so far, I actually feel like this is kind of one of the more practical ones. Like, they're teaching them how to survive in a forest. Like,
not just that, like all the kids are working together and like doing team attacks and all that shit. This is actually interesting stuff to watch.
Yeah, this is actually, I would say, like, despite how much shit we give the series, I would say that this is actually one of the better episodes, like, overall.
Yeah, but this is still the first part of this is still the first part of the episode.
I know, and don't worry, it starts getting worse, trust me.
Well, yeah, kinda. But like basically after that they're tired as fuck and they end up in like the cabin where they are supposed to be, the train and all that shit. Eraserhead grills on them as usual. And then they meet one of the Pussycats' nephew, Koda, who he's basically supposed to remember that the Valley of the Waste in Naruto, and that little kid that Naruto hung with, who he didn't like at first, but after all that shit he started to admire him. Yeah. He's basically that kid but for Deku, And like, here's the thing, this guy's even more of a shithead because like the kid just punches the guy in the dick for like no reason. Oh yeah, that was funny. Just for being nice. Like, it was funny, but Jesus Christ, kid.
Yeah,
like,
so what is so what is Kota's backstory? Why is he such a little shithead?
Well, all right, exposition train. So basically, what happened was that, hey, Kota's parents are, I think they're called Water Hose. Either his dad's name Water Hose or they're a team called that. Whatever. They're firefighting heroes. And they were basically fighting a villain and they pretty much got their shit caved in. And they basically died during their fight with that villain. Yeah, and it's supposed to be his tragic backstory and all that. Yeah, and it's understandable.
Yeah, and Koda's like lost his family, and his auntie, one of the wild pussycats, basically says to him, "We live in a society."
Oh my god. Oh man,
that's fucking exactly what they said. Like basically, they just told the kid straight up, "We live in a society. That's why your parents died."
I don't know, man, but like, Kota basically doesn't like heroes apparently because he believes his parents left him, and because they became heroes, they kind of just shirk off the responsibility of like taking care of the people that are left behind, and like they leave him behind. So like, and, this kind of runs counter to Deku's beliefs, which is actually interesting for once. We have an actual like non-villain that counters his beliefs in some way. And like the funny thing about it is that unlike the usual, Deku doesn't really have all that much of an answer. It's like he doesn't immediately just say the perfect thing to just like get this kid over his problems, and that's something that even Todoroki acknowledges either in like this episode or the next or whatever. But yeah,
like it seems like Deku and his rose-colored glasses idealism can't crush the depression of we live in a society that this kid has suffered.
Yeah, but honestly, what I kind of dislike about this kid is that, I mean, one of the things anyways is, basically that why the hell is he even here then? Like, I get that Mandalay, which is his aunt, who's one of the pussycats. Like, Mandalay said that, hey, we're having him here because, in order to interact with the kids and maybe see the worth and heroism and all that shit. But honestly, you should have just gotten this, you should have gotten this kid a therapist. Like, honestly, you're surrounding him with people and putting him in a place where he literally does not want to be there. Like, this is supposed to be something that's supposed to be like a slow burner. You're not supposed to just like freaking expose them to something that they vehemently distrust and hate like this, especially to the point of like punching somebody in the dick over it. Like, I'm still on that.
All right, yeah, well, he's a kid, so kids can be little shits. People can be little shits at times. I
agree. I agree. I just don't think that he shouldn't even be there in the first place.
I know, but I think she's trying to. I think her problem is that she's trying to be a good auntie. She's trying to be a good family member because, as far as we know, she's probably one of the only family he has left.
Yeah, I mean, granted, she could put him up with babysitters, but like, yeah, I understand that.
I mean, if all you know is being a hero, then that's what you're gonna try. I mean, and I actually find the kid interesting as like a criticism of this superhuman society. Like, what happens when the hero doesn't save the day? What happens if they don't have their hero's license and they get their throat slit?
I mean, these guys were pro heroes, but I get what you mean.
What happens?
I'm still on that license bullshit, honestly.
Trust me, it comes. It comes.
I mean, I know, but let's just get on with it. So, okay. Basically, the training in the training camp is supposed to be about, we're gonna increase the strength of their powers and whatever. Even though like they improve like their stamina, and also they introduce the new villains, who range from well executed characters to incredibly overhyped ones. Toga, the yandere bitch, and Dabi, who is like who's supposed to be one of the main edgelord characters in this series, honestly.
Yeah, and I actually like Dabi. Like, he's kind of cool.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing though. Like, okay, they say that, these are kids who are brought in because of Stain's ideology and blah, blah, blah. With Dabi, yes, I can understand. With Toga, bullshit. because she just wants to kill people just cuz.
Yeah, she's
To the point where
she's kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, to the point where I wonder why the hell haven't they brought her into the group beforehand? I have no idea, but honestly, let's just move on with the next episode.
All right, so the start of actual episode 41. So we meet a new pro hero called Vlad King, and he's bringing in the Class B students to help train with the A students. You know, more competition, more teamwork. You know, iron sharpens iron, that kind of shit. And
Right.
you know,
Okay, and like one interesting thing. Now it's involved in the training with the kids themselves. So basically, what new thing we learn about quirks in general is that they're pretty much like a person's muscle. The more you overuse it and push it to its limits, the more you are not only able to control it and also like control its volume and all that jazz. So that's why they're having these kids just using their powers over and over and over again in order to like train them on how to maintain their energy and all that stuff. My question is, why the hell haven't they done this before? Like, granted, I understand that it's mostly because, oh, they're doing this in the mountains, in the forest, the middle of bumfuck nowhere, where they can just, you know, cut loose with their abilities without really hurting anybody. And to a certain extent, yes, I can understand that, but granted, why there was enough spacing in, like, say, the practice towns they have in the school. Like, we don't even know the total size of the school itself. It has so much shit in it, and there's so much of this open space that they could be using. It would be within their jurisdiction, but instead they put them in an entirely different place, which is weird.
I think it's because of the fucking villain attacks, because the villain attacks like broke into the school and stuff, and they're thinking of like, you know, if we put them somewhere isolated, you know, we'll put them somewhere far away, the villains won't find them, which, spoiler alert, they do find them.
I mean, yeah, but you know, we already foreshadowed that they're going to be doing something anyways. Like they're always up to something. They're not just mad dog killers. I mean, they are mad dog killers, but they're also up to something. So I guess that kind of evens out.
Yeah, get a villain that can do both.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, they're overusing their quirks. They're doing all this stuff. I
also remember that Deku tries to bond with Kota again. Like goes up to a secret hiding place to try and bond with him and stuff, to try and make friends. But Kota's just, you know, fuck off, dude.
Yeah. And like he says that, hey, you're just trying to improve your powers or whatever just to show off. And like it's understandable why Deku wouldn't be able to like get this kid out of his shell anyways. You know, unlike Naruto, he's a pretty pensive guy. So, and you know, he's really nervous and isn't really experienced in like, you know, other viewpoints of being of like heroes and stuff like that. And you know, that's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. So, you wanted to talk about Grape Boy before. So, do you want to mention that scene?
Not just yet. Not just yet. There's a little bit more about this scene and a couple others that we kind of need to mention.
Okay, you can mention them then.
Yeah. So, like, you know, Deku realizes that, like, hey, this kid just doesn't hate heroes. It's just about the quirks in the superhero society as a whole and everything. So, yeah, this kind of branches off into a bit bigger picture, which I like. Although, like, it's weird that Deku's takeaway from it is that, like, there's so many people with different views of being a hero. Like, he's considering his viewpoints about heroes and stuff like that within his society, and yet he didn't really take all that much time in considering Stains, and didn't even have a talk with All Might about it in the last season, which kind of also still bugs me, and just
I kind of wish
almost irrelevant the entire arc was, honestly, as good as it was.
It makes Stain feel so irrelevant. Like, what was the point of even having him there? I mean, they might as well just had Stain in like the fucking vigilante manga that they have, which, by the way, I actually read a bit of it. It's actually not bad.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to read it. I heard that like Stain's backstory is kind of weird, and from what I heard, I don't know how to feel about it. But whatever. Before after that, we see a little bit of the League of Villains, skulking out the area and looking at the at what the kids are doing from below. And we see some new villains, but honestly, they're not even worth, remembering for their names. So whatever. So the third day of training starts again.
There was the scene with the bath.
Oh, right. So the scene with the bath. Okay, I get this joke, but again, like all the others, it's not fucking funny. And
It's kind of
also
creepy.
Yeah, more than kind of. And again, I'm not here's the thing. I am completely I am completely well aware how weird anime can be when it comes to fan service, especially those of teenagers with the bodies of fucking supermodels and shit.
Yeah, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know. This is one of the more gratuitous aspects of it, especially with the real world implications. It's so jarring that a series that talks about the real world implications and consequences of various aspects of its world building, and yet have Mineta, who is practically exempt from those consequences. Well, maybe not even exempt from those consequences, because he does get his shit caved in, and he does technically become a better student and become more proficient about being a hero. It's just that he doesn't get the fleshing out or the recontextualizations that many other characters have. Honestly, I get it. I get the point of Mineta. And, there's this one interesting video about this. And it's okay, I get the point of Mineta is that he represents an aspect of, what motivates being a hero. The dude just wants some fame. He wants some pussy. If that can, propel someone into becoming a good hero, then who gives a shit? That's the main
I don't mind.
theme of the entire show.
I mean, if you look at High School DxD, I mean, that was fucking Issei's main motivation was to get his dick wet.
Yeah, but the thing about this is that, although this does further the grand thematic weight of the main themes of the entire story about what it means to be a hero, the problem with Mineta is that we know that he is necessary, but they're not doing a good job of us wanting him to be there. The whole point of it is that we're not supposed to laugh with him, we're supposed to laugh at him. But here's the problem. When it comes to characters like these, you need to still make them, you still need to make them funny. Ed, Ed and Nettie, for example, is about a kid who just wants to scam people out of their money to get some fucking candy. And you think that show wouldn't be successful if Eddie was incredibly annoying and just not funny at all? Exactly. It's the same deal here. It doesn't matter what greater thematic point that Mineta has in the story. He's not going to be an enjoyable character to watch because the main point of him, which is comic relief, isn't comedic.
Yeah. If you look at to take Issei from High School DxD, another example again. He has these he does have these he's a bit of a douchebag. He's a massive fucking pervert, but there are times where he is somewhat heroic and good natured or trying to do good, even if most of the time he's trying to get into someone's pants. But he has aspects about him that are likable. He's determined.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to make him a good person or likable. Or he doesn't even need to
he's not. Issei, Issei in the earlier volumes was kind of I wouldn't say douchebag, but a bit of a jackass at times. He's a bit selfish and self-centered and stuff. But, as the series goes on, you do see more of these heroic aspects of him, despite the fact that he is horny as fuck and he just wants to get him some demon puss.
Right.
I mean, that's how you make it. That's how you do a pervert character. They have some endearing qualities about them, but with Mineta, he's just kind of creepy. I mean, he's just thirsty 100% of the time. It's Jesus, dude, keep it in your pants.
Yeah, and even when like, oh, he still becomes a better hero because he furthers his motivation, he's not even like trying to go around like making the same mistakes in like an interesting way, because we've all seen all of this shit before. It's not clever, it's not funny, and it's not really all that engaging. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and Kota just cockblocks him anyway, so it's funny.
Okay, it's a little bit funny, but it still involves like what, a 10-year-old kid? So it's like, I'm not doing that.
Disavow. So after we get such a lovely scene and more chatting, the villains start doing their invasion. The villains start doing their attack. Darby sets fire to part of the forest, and then one of the other villains releases a gas or something like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that's basically what happened. Actually, interesting thing is that, spoiler alert, this is pretty much the most successful the villains have been in the entire series. This is like their first major win going forward, or at least overall, and this was mostly because this was Darby's plan and not Shigaraki's, which I find pretty fascinating and also kind of dumb, because I understand what they were trying to do with Shigaraki is that, oh, he's an inexperienced villain and all the other stuff. But like, there aren't enough interesting aspects of his character to really make him all that unsettling and creepy. He just seems they're laying the try-hardy aspects of his villainous nature way too thick. I know that's the point, but they're just pushing it a little bit. Yeah, that kind of prevents him from being all that threatening.
Yeah, to me, Shigaraki is like someone LARPing as the Joker.
Essentially. That's essentially what he's doing.
Like, I would be more intimidated by the Joker than the actual fucking LARPer, because with the Joker, I actually know that there's a method behind the madness.
Yeah. I mean, there's technically a method behind Shigaraki's madness too, but it feels like he has Shadow the Hedgehog syndrome, where like, they're adding backstory that makes it more interesting, but like, they don't make his dialogue better. No. So it just prevents you from being all that engaged.
Yeah, and the fact that Darby seems to be the only ones actually pulling the weight as far as like leadership and victories goes. Like, why the fuck is Darby in charge? Because he seems to be the person that has all the better plans and ideas.
Yeah, and he's way more competent anyways. Like, he just shows up, like, next episode. No, not even that next episode. This episode, he shows up to Eraserhead and just tries to scorch his face off. Like,
after setting fire to the forest. And actually, like, setting fire to the forest and releasing gas into the forest is actually a very good idea, because it's going to cause panic and terror. Like, that's terror tactics.
Yeah, it's terror tactics, and like, these are a bunch of kids. Like, why are we holding back against them and all that shit? Which makes me wonder how the fuck all these kids managed to beat up like over 100 villains in the first season.
I mean, if Darby had those 100 villains with him at that moment in the forest and the gas, like, they could actually have killed some people, because they've got the element of surprise. The students are frightened, scared. There's a fire and gas all over the place. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They're separated, and then like they just get jumped. Like, it's just game over.
Right. So I think we gave this episode enough things to talk about. So let's move on to the next one. I'm going to look over this for just a second.
42. Oh shit, he does. Yeah. So episode 42, Darby starts attacking Eraserhead and Vlad King.
And some of the other villains fight some of the
wild pussycats. And if I remember correctly, one of the wild pussycats gets badly injured in this episode, or was it another one?
Well, well, maybe not. I don't remember whether it's this episode or the next one, but she does get badly injured and even captured by the end of this. So that's another interesting aspect that the villains are actually trying to do. And not only that, but another thing is that the two students from Class B are fighting against basically the villain, who is exuding all that noxious gas that is like weakening all the students and all that shit. Which was actually pretty cool. I wish I actually gave a shit about their characters, if they were endearing at all to really care about this development, I guess. But at least they have some attention.
Yeah, I actually quite like this fight. Like you actually see the pro heroes are actually getting kind of not overwhelmed, but it's definitely like they're trying.
Yeah, they're definitely trying. Like again, like they come like completely by surprise, and technically, at least among the pro heroes, the villains outnumber them. So there's also that.
And it's also the fact that the wild pussycats aren't exactly built for aren't exactly combat.
Well, most of them aren't, anyways. I mean, they all are because every pro hero is a martial arts expert apparently, but most of their quirks aren't really fit for that. Like one is to make their
like what I mean by combat is like they're not exactly what you'd call like people who are good at fighting, like hand to hand combat or ranged. Like they're more about using their superpowers. Like they're not like All Might or Stain. They're not like combatants essentially.
Yeah, but what was I about to say here?
Muscular.
Oh yeah, muscular. Oh yeah, Deku just so happens to fight the exact guy who killed Koda's parents. Well, ain't that some shit? And okay, and then their fight goes on, and basically Muscular kind of manhandles Deku for the majority of the fight, honestly.
Actually, should we talk about Muscular's power, which I thought was pretty cool?
Yeah, Muscular's power is basically what he's got his name from. He can basically create even more muscle upon himself to make him even bigger and stronger, and like even faster as well, honestly, for his size. Which is actually a pretty cool power. It has a nice visualization. The animation from Bones is always good. So
yeah, I actually kind of like the fight because as they're fighting, you see him creating more muscle and stuff, and it's like holy shit. It's kind of like it's kind of gross at the same time, but kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is gross and like weird at the same time.
I actually liked Muscular. I wish he would actually, spoiler alert, hang around more. But
I mean, we all know he's gonna get smacked around by Deku, honestly, because okay, so this is basically the moment where Deku has his speeches, intense power up, and when he proves to Koda that heroes are worth something, oh yeah, nothing like knowing the true worth or learning something from a near-death experience. That isn't manipulative at all, I guess. But jokes aside, I get what they're trying to do here, but they kind of undercut it by the fact that Deku kind of just one-shots the dude. And
1,000,000% fuck up my arm.
Oh my god. I have so many complaints about this one single thing. Hold on a sec. I have something written down about this actually because I posted this this comment or whatever right the episode that it happened, and I forgot where I put it. Let's see.
Get ready, people. Get ready, drones. We got a real treat coming up.
Okay. Anyways, oh yeah, I found it. This is what I said. This fight was all right. All y'all who were telling me this fight was decent, no disrespect, but every single one of you motherfuckers lied to me. This fight was incredibly bland and uninteresting. At least in terms of tactics and shit. Practically none of Deku's training, stupid and uncreative training that he was already doing to some extent, instead of focusing on an actual fighting style, but fuck it, amount to jack shit in this fight other than maybe making him a little bit physically stronger. But that's still not, actual training, giving him an edge here. I except giving him a bigger health bar. Who fucking cares? I would not doubt that even if Deku wasn't training here, the fight would have ended the exact same way. Plus, he didn't bother to bring backup while he was going to save Koda right before Muscular showed up. So that's also done on his part. Again, he was trying to hurry up and rescue him, but he should have at least taken one other person. And there were other people around, I think. And speaking of how the fight ending, I kept hearing about how the 1 million smash shit was just a metaphorical battle cry, but how the fuck am I supposed to believe that when number one, it's still an asshole, and number two, even the villain said his last punch was stronger than before? if it was just because he was distracted, that'd be one thing. But he said the punch itself was stronger when it absolutely shouldn't have. This fight was next level garbage. The villain was a bland psycho. Deku was put in a situation where strategy wouldn't be able to help him at all. It's the most thematically vapid of all the fights so far, featuring some ungrateful little shit whose aunt should have put him in a friggin' babysitter instead of coming to a place filled with people he hates, and is connected to the bland dickbag who, for contrived reasons, killed his parents. And we're probably never gonna see his ass again in another arc anyways. So the only worth this fight has is the fucking animation, which I would credit if the show was just a dumb action show. But the show treats itself with a level of seriousness akin to Naruto or One Piece, where it's trying to say something at least somewhat profound, both of which are leagues ahead of this crap even in their worst days. This battle is like a 4 out of 10 for me as a whole. So, just like everything else in this show, it's pretty mediocre. You can take your pretentious proclamations and 1,000,000% smash it up your shitholes. So how's that for a subversion? Now, I was a lot more mad when I wrote that. But honestly, I don't really take back anything I said there.
Oh, Deku, you're being reckless again.
Yeah, it doesn't really change. Like, I can understand that, like, oh, he's trying to prove that recklessness is part of being a hero, but I was thinking that he would try, because when like you see Guts in Berserk fighting an apostle, right? And he comes up with some roundabout strategy in order to beat a demon. That's actually, not only being reckless, but also quick-witted. It's reckless because he's doing all this crazy shit that's gonna fuck him up.
So Guts is a normal human fighting superpowered monsters, all right? I mean, you'd have to be crazy. That's a lot of risk, even if you Guts is a really great warrior, but he's fighting against a superpowered monster. I mean, it's going to be a risk every time he fights.
Yeah, and it's not even just that. Again, it also has to amount that his fights, he wins most of his major fights because of his quick wit and his actual experience fighting people and his willingness to do whatever it takes to win, like getting his freaking mouth pierced open,
Didn't Guts break his sword as well with his bare teeth?
Yeah, twice actually. So this dude does not fuck around. And if it was or even like a lower tiered version of that, like with Luffy from One Piece in most of his fights, the dude fights tooth and nail to beat up people too.
Yeah, and actually Luffy is actually quite creative with the, with his rubber, with his devil fruit powers. I mean, he has to be.
Yeah, honestly, I would have liked it better if, Deku pulled some kind of strategy to distract Muscular and leave the vicinity before he could do anything. But
if you look at One Piece, a lot of the major villain stuff, they're very creative with what they have. I mean, even if they don't have a devil fruit power, I mean, there's other shit they can get. Like haki, armament haki. I mean, for fuck's sake, Zoro coated his swords with armament haki to cut this one dude.
Yeah,
it's creative.
Kind of huh? Yeah. I just wish there was a bit more of a creative bow behind this, because if this was in World Trigger, Muscular would be one of the major villain factions that would take literally 9 people and over 10 episodes to beat. Logically.
You know how Deku could have beaten him? Instead of smashing the Muscular, he could have destroyed the ground underneath him, make a rock slide or something like that.
Yeah, force Muscular to create a sort of rock slide, have him try to defend from that, grab Koda and GTFO out of there so he can reconvene with the other students in order to fight him. That would have actually been interesting, and it wouldn't make Izuku look like even more of a friggin' Mary Sue, honestly.
And also, he fucks up his arms again. I thought he was told to stop doing that.
Yeah, but it's not going to really amount to too much, honestly. So
yeah,
especially at this
Koda is Koda's oh, Deku, my hero, let me suck your dick. Ah.
Yeah, it's I understand what they were trying to do here, but they're basically doing Valley of the Waste Naruto, but they're rushing it. They're severely rushing it. like if Deku had spent like way more time with Koda and did other stuff with him aside from talking about like his past a little bit before the villain started showing up and everything, I would have been fine with this. I mean, I wouldn't be fine with how it ended, but I would be fine with Koda, like, saying that, oh, you're my hero and all that stuff, because this could be a culmination of an actual relationship these two people have. But, with this,
what would have been a really cool idea is if, like, Kota becomes, like, Deku's successor for All for One. Or One for All, sorry.
I mean, he's basically his fanboy at this point, and we do see him later on in the manga, which I don't know whether he's going to show up in season 4 from what I can understand. So he's not completely superfluous, but honestly, if you just
I think it'd be a really cool idea if like Koda's like Deku's successor.
Yeah, but then again,
but
I don't know. I feel
Deku, like Koda's a bit more jaded or a bit more cynical, I guess.
Well, I don't know. From what I read in the manga, he pretty much like changed his entire persona anyways from that one experience. So yeah, I don't know. I might have to reread the chapter where he showed up, but he didn't really do much in that chapter anyway. So
all right. So should we move to the next episode?
Yeah, sure.
So episode 43, Deku defeats Muscular, and then eventually Eraserhead fights Darby. And by the way, this Darby is a fake.
Oh yeah, this is some from some Lil Karibo darts. You've been pranked shit, because like apparently that was a complete copy of Darby made by one of the newer villains twice, who's going to be showing up a lot more in the series. And his ability is basically Twice
I thought Twice's power was very cool. Like now there's two Darbys.
Yeah.
And actually Clone Darby was actually pretty strong.
Yeah, he was just as strong as the original. So it's not, that sort of Tien's cloning in Dragon Ball Syndrome where it's like, oh, he clones himself, but he's slightly weak. He's like a third of the strength of the original or some shit. No, this is like, actual equal power, which I question why they don't do this more often, honestly, with more of the villains. How if we had two Musculars, that would have been crazy. But
imagine if Twice can do that multiple times. You just have an army of Musculars.
Wow, funny that you mentioned that. This has to do with like manga spoilers, but you know what? Whatever. We're not gonna focus on that right now.
Yeah, don't mention it. Save it for the season 4 and season 5, which will be doing eventually.
I mean, by my count, it's probably going to be a season 5 thing.
Okay, cool. Well, don't bring it up. But like I actually Twice his power is actually very useful. Like
it's absurdly useful, which makes me feel like they probably should have had an easier time winning this than they actually did. But fuck it, whatever, I guess.
I mean, Clone Darby, despite being a clone and being controlled by Twice, I mean, he still was an effective combatant. I mean, he managed to give Vlad King, the other teacher, and Eraserhead a bit of a hard time. So
yeah. So, like, after that, Deku meets Eraserhead and says, like, hey, you look after Koda. I'm going to try to find where the other students are and see if they need any help, even though, like, I have, like, 2 fucked up arms. That's another thing. Why the hell didn't they have, like, a medic hero on hand with them, either? Like, that doesn't really make any sense.
That would be too convenient. Like, the show isn't being full of convenience already, but, fuck it.
Yeah, but they're being conveniently inconvenient now. Convenientception, I guess? I don't know.
Is it? Oh my god, I didn't expect it. It's subversive. 10 out of 10.
I don't know. Yeah, the one time they should have done their contrived bullshit, it's whatever. Anyway, one of the newer villains... Yeah, but fuck it. One of the newer villains named Spinner, who's this lizard guy who's really obsessed with Stain and isn't interesting at all, so fuck him.
He's a larper of Stain, so fuck him.
Yeah, he doesn't really like help represent his ideas other than the fact that, oh yeah, there's gonna be fanboys of the dude. Like, yeah, no shit, and it makes sense, and I'm glad the show at least touched upon a little bit, especially at the end of last season where like, oh, there were action figures of the guy. But like they didn't really do much else with that, and they don't do much else with this character, so don't even bother.
Yeah,
and
he's just another thing for people to fight. Essentially, he's just to fill up animation space.
Yeah, he's the jobber of the League of Villains, which makes me wonder why he managed to even why they managed to even bring him along. Hell, how is he even this like strong as a combatant to be able to like be in the league if like Stain showed up 2 months ago, and like yet this guy, I mean, sure, he might have like, oh, the proportionate strength of a lizard or whatever, but they never really expand upon it in the manga either, so it's just so friggin' arbitrary how he became this physically able to be like this much of a swordsman and shit.
Yeah. Now, another thing that we talk about is another villain is attacking known as Moonfish, who looks like arguably probably one of the more intimidating villains that they've actually had so far, but he's just another fucking psychopath serial killer murder. So, do you want to talk about Moonfish, the fucking tooth guy?
I mean, what's there to talk about though? Like, yeah, he's just his power is that basically like, oh, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what his power was, but basically he sticks out like these metal tentacle fangy things
it's his teeth.
Out of his teeth, yeah. And like, oh, he's giving Todoroki and Bakugo, you know, some hard time while they're rescuing some students. And then you know, like I said, the two kids in Class B beat up the friggin' the kid who was creating all that gas in the forest, and like it was a cool fight for the most part. Not much really happened in it.
Yeah, wasn't that gas mask kid in like middle school or something?
It was in middle school, and he has a friggin' revolver gun. So like school shooter much, I guess. You know, there's school shooters in this universe, confirmed.
Very realistic.
Oh my god, how even worse school shooters would actually be in the My Hero verse if everybody has superpowers. Like, oh my god.
Well, at least the gun debate wouldn't exist because you have superpowers. Like, guns are just equalizers or weapons.
I mean, yeah, but how the fuck did this kid have a gun? Like, I'm just gonna assume that the league gave it to him, because there's no way there could be any other way that a kid in Japan will just get an actual fucking revolver. That just
I know that Japan has pretty strict gun laws and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, should we talk about episode 42 because 44 because something cool happens?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So episode 44, we have I think it's the crow guy, his dark shadow quirk, you know, the stand thing. It goes out of fucking control.
Oh yeah, which has also been kind of foreshadowed throughout the show, that basically his shadow kind of becomes even more violent when in dark places or during the night when he uses his power. So like, you know, all that kind of sort of edgy nonsense about like his power taking control was actually true. And which is interesting because, like, Fumikage is one of the characters I actually like. You know, he's actually funny. He has actual comedic timing. And, like, he's kind of what Shigaraki should have been in the sense that he's supposed to be an ironic edgelord. And, like, it actually works with him. And, you know, I can buy with... And his power is pretty cool, too, for the most part.
Yeah, and he wasn't, like, joking. Like, his fucking shadow, like, you've seen his stand shadow in daylight, but this thing, it becomes fucking massive. It's glowing red, it's roaring, it's, like, picking up people and ripping apart trees like paper.
Yeah, honestly. So, like, you know, one interesting thing that happened here is that basically what Deku did, and like the guy with the multiple arms in Class A that no one cares about, they basically like lure Fumikage's Tokoyami's out of control shadow and leads him to
stand. Just call it his stand.
Yeah, his stand, and just lure it towards Moonfish to basically wreck his shit. So that, and then like right afterwards, Bakugo just uses his explosion similar to what he did in the tournament arc to basically shine light in order to dissipate it, which is a pretty cool callback actually, and it's a really clever plan. Wish this level of cleverness showed up in the friggin' muscular fight, but fuck that, I guess.
Oh no, it gets better. So we have Toga, and she's gonna make some friends.
Yeah, Toga was fighting Uraraka and Frog Chick. Yeah, Froppy. And like, she's just being creepy and killy. She's a crazy killer yandere bitch, It's what you'd expect.
Oh, she's trying to make some friends. Oh, how adorable. Now, what I actually like in this episode is that Ochako uses the martial arts she learned from Gunhead to restrain Toga. And I actually thought that was a really cool callback.
Yeah, honestly, it makes me kind of miffed that literally teaching the kids actual martial arts aren't even in their curriculum. Like, I'm not even sure how that makes any sense at all. Because, like, most heroes that we've seen in the show have some, hand-to-hand combat expertise, so like you would assume that this is just a consistent thing, in the school curriculum or whatever, but that doesn't happen. So it's like, why?
Yeah, I actually, in Japanese schools, they teach archery and kendo, and I think karate and kung fu in some of them. Like, they have clubs and shit and judo and stuff. Like, if this is like, if this is a Japanese school, they should have these martial arts. I mean, Japan is home to what? How many martial arts?
I don't even know. Like, just a crazy fuck ton.
Yeah, honestly. Like in China, they also have those studios, and they either have studios or it comes with the actual fucking school or a club. Like, because this is the birthplace of that's the birthplace of some of these fighting styles and stuff. Like, you would think that.
Yeah, you would think that a place that is trying to craft like the literal protectors of like humanity and shit would have like, okay, we have instead of just gym, it would just be boot camp,
Or, it could be like karate or kendo club or, archery club or, like fucking samurai knew martial arts. Like, they would train from cradle to grave martial arts.
Yeah, meanwhile, Stain learned how to become an assassin or whatever on the streets and being able to compete with, like, freaking prodigies, which, okay.
Now, I think another thing that we forgot to mention that we didn't bring up is that when the villains are attacking and all the students are running away, Eraserhead, like one of the chicks has an ability to send messages. So Eraserhead says, "You can all fight. You have permission." And it's like,
oh what? No, I forgot. Oh my god,
I forgot as well. I think we might as well bring it up now. Like, holy fuck,
this is stupid. Oh my god.
Imagine if
this is. Go ahead.
My fucking head is exploding. It's like, imagine you're one of these students and you're getting your throat slit and you're bleeding out, but you can't do anything because guess what? You don't have permission to defend yourself.
You just didn't have permission to defend yourself. You just gotta have to let them just let them do it. Just let them do you in. Just make your mama cry.
Yeah, and your friend watches you get your throat slit and you're bleeding out, and the villain turns around to get close to you. You're backing away slowly. You're trying to run, but then out of nowhere, you get permission to fuck shit up, and then you fuck up the villain. But your friend's dead because he's bleeding. Yeah. Your friend's dead, so fuck it. Who cares?
Seriously, it's so stupid. Like, I get it. I get it. This is supposed to be a way for like students to not go out of control with their powers outside of school and everything. But this is a literal fight to the death. Like, Bakugo was already using his powers. Class B were using their powers against a villain to defend themselves. They had no other choice. So, like, why in the hell? Even though Chaco was, like, using martial arts against a villain, which, okay, I guess... I mean, as a whole, yes, it's not as dangerous as using superpowers, but come the fuck on.
Dude, there's several martial arts where you can actually kill a person.
Yeah, and like, you're literally depriving... This literally goes against, common sense. And it really pisses me off. This is just that dumb permission thing, that whole license bullshit. Just doesn't make any sense. Because the kids were fighting off the villains in the first season without any permission. and it was a life or death situation, and they didn't get any
Kaiser
shit for
Shounen,
that.
I actually think that common sense may be actually a quirk in this series, and it's like you're gonna have that one character whose quirk is common sense.
Okay, gotcha. That seems legit. Whatever.
Okay. All right. We also meet another character as well this episode. We meet Mr. Compress.
Oh yeah, Mr. Compress. He's he's all right. He's the.
I think he's very cool. He's sort of like a very entertaining villain. He's an entertainer. He likes to troll people.
Yeah, he's a guy for a theatrics. He's kind of dramatic and has his slick outfit and mask and everything. And he has the power to basically like compress people in the balls, which he did to Tokoyami and Bakugo. And then like nearing the end of the episode, Deku and some of the other kids basically managed to put the jump on the dude in order to get the two balls back. But like, oh no, it was a troll, son, and like they only got Tokoyami back, but their real target was Bakugo the whole time, apparently.
Yeah, so episode 50. So episode 51. Mr. Compress goes to the portal, and Darby just fires a giant flame attack that nearly incinerates all the students. But Vlad comes in and protects Deku from getting burnt to death.
Yeah, there's also that.
And Deku's also crying because his friend's been kidnapped. He's in a hospital, and Deku, you're being reckless.
And honestly, the whole Deku, you're being reckless thing, it barely amounts to all that much, anyways. So like, there was a meeting with the teachers in UA about how the fuck did the villains know we were there, and like they can pretty much surmise that there's a traitor in the group.
Is there a traitor, really?
I mean, up to this point in the manga, there hasn't really been any information regarding the traitor in the first place. So this is just like a weird footnote to have that barely even gets focused on.
I mean,
there is no mystery.
Like it's like if your enemy knows where you're going to be at all times and they're like attacking you, like it's obvious that they have information. Like
it should have been obvious from the beginning. They showed up right in your front door in the first season. Literally, that's what they did, and that didn't set them off that there was probably a traitor. Really?
Yeah, because in the first season, Handsman, he melted one of the fucking gates when the press was there. When the press were distracting them.
Yeah, like they were distracting them and everything.
Also, who leaked out that All Might was teaching at that school?
I have no idea. There had to have been a leak about that too. Like that's the thing. This is kind of why I hate with sort of mystery plots like this, where it's like it's not an actual mystery. You're just waiting for the moment where the show just exposits to you what the actual fuck is going on. There aren't any clues for the audience to follow. All we know is just that somebody's up to a bunch of shady shit, and we have no idea about their motivations or anything like that. We don't know.
This is like a prestigious hero academy, and someone is leaking information. Like all these coincidences, like one coincidence, it's a coincidence. 2 or 3, nah, man, there's a connection. All right, like how convenient is it? How convenient that they showed up at our front door without no one knowing about it. How convenient that they showed up at this training camp in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. How did they know that where it was?
Yeah,
oddly convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the fact that they know that there has to be a traitor that kind of bugs the shit out of me. It's the fact that, like, again, they're up to this point in manga, there's been no beats about there being there is nothing to further this mystery. So it's just one of the plot points that is just hanging there in the friggin' ether, waiting for the moment where, the show is just gonna exposit to you what the actual hell is actually happening.
It's funny.
This is the beginning. This is the beginning all over again. That's what they friggin' did. It's not a mystery show. It's a dumb show.
Yeah, and also, I'm pretty sure we'll find out who the traitor is when that information starts to affect Deku, because the Deku-centric narrative.
You know what? That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, the moment where, there's gonna be a traitor in the group, Deku is obviously going to be involved, and it's obviously gonna immediately pick up because he was around. That he was in the immediate vicinity to actually affect the the plot in any meaningful way. It's just, oh man.
Yeah, but it's like you would think that like all these people like that the principal has are trusted. Like who would actually betray UA or put all the students' lives at risk?
Yeah, and you would think that like some of the kids would be concerned about whether there's a traitor or not, but they don't even mention that.
Like, don't like these. I mean, I would think if I had like an enemy and they kept on showing up in places where it's like a secret place or places I know about, I'd be rather suspect that how do they know I was going to be here? Like, I only told like certain people, like only 5 people know that I'm in this location, and how would they know?
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense at all. Like, honestly, it kind of makes me question the actual security of UA when every other fucker out there who either shop at school at one point or has a Tumblr account can find out where you live.
Or also know what you look like.
Yeah, that
Because Handsman paid Deku a visit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what made that scene even better? If Handsman like knocks on Deku's door, makes himself welcome and says like, "Wanna hang out?" and sits on Deku's couch and grabs like a soft drink and cracks it, and he's just like, and he has like he's using like his mom as like a stool and just has his hand around her throat. Oh no, Deku enters his home and that's what he sees. It's Handsman got Deku's mother as a hostage, and he's got like he's drinking like soda or something, and he gives a thing to Deku. He says like, "Here, drink this," and Deku like sits down and they do the whole like exposition thing, and Handsman is just smiling the entire time as he's like just eating stuff out of the fridge. He's just like, "Nice place you got here." Dude, if I was a villain, I'd totally do that. Like, if I know where you'll live, I'm gonna fuck with you. Yeah, but anyways, because what would be more unsettling, that you're fighting a maniacal serial killer, or the fact that serial killer knows where you live and is actually making him comfortable in your home? Yeah, that is really, really unsettling. But anyways, Deku is obviously broken up about not being able to save Bakugo and everything, which there's got to be other aspects of their relationship that I'm going to be talking about later on in this review, so stay tuned for that, honestly. Yeah, so you want to move to episode 46? Wait, hold on just a second. All the other kids visit Deku in the hospital. They're talking about all the shit has been going on lately. All Might is definitely involved in like trying to find out about the League of Villains hideout, because one thing that we neglected to mention was that during the invasion, Momo, and this other kid in Class B who isn't really important managed to basically put like a tag on a Nomu that was there, and they only brought one Nomu into the fight for whatever reason. Which, okay, Dobby, you're kind of slipping here, dude. Just saying. Like, imagine twice. I would have thought they would have at least bought 3 or 5 of them, like at least a squad. Right, because like last season you saw pro heroes. Nothing less than pro heroes are going to be able to stop Nomu. Right, and like they should have brought multiple of them over there, and we know that they have more. They definitely have more. By the end of this season, we know they got more. But whatever. I mean, if you're gonna send like at least send a couple. I mean, at least 3 or 5, like as like security, like a little squad of Nomu just to fuck shit up. I mean, that would have been more practical instead of just sending the one. Yeah, but anyways, at the very least, Momo's actually useful. Instead of just being like a pair of tits and actually like, oh, we found out the League of Villains hideout. We're gonna do some shit. So, there's that, and then the kids argue about because I actually like that because it's rather clever. It's just like, I put a tracker on one of them as they were retreating. It's like, wait, will you put a tracker on them? It's like, we can find them? Oh shit, we've been trying to find their hideout for years and you just found it in 5 seconds. Yeah, you'd think there'd be other like heroes with tracking quirks or whatever. Like later on in the manga, there's this dude who's basically like, think Wild Mutt from Ben 10, but a person. Oh, and, shit, he's basically a dog with a high sense of smell and everything. So if they brought that dude in, they definitely would find him. Yeah, I mean, he's not getting away. Like if once a dog has got your scent, like they'll track you for miles. Yeah, honestly, even if you got like teleportation
teleportation and shit. You just search all over the series, he's gonna find you. But anyways,
Yeah,
the kids argue.
As long as he's got your scent, if he knows what you smell like, he'll pick it up. So episode 46 starts.
Yeah, the kids basically argue about, hey, we should say Bakugo and everything. But like one thing though, one part of this whole thing that kind of bugs the shit out of me is Froppy basically says that, hey, we're if you break the rules, you're nothing you're nothing more than villains. It's like, really? That's so stupid. Like, that doesn't really make any sense.
That's such a vapid, like, it just takes away from what being a good villain is. It's like, oh, if you break the rules, you're a villain. Like, bitch, by that definition, I'm a villain. I'm a villain.
Right? And like, you kids broke the rules in the first season by fighting a bunch of villains, in using your powers and shit. So like, aren't you guys already villains anyways? This is just an arbitrary way of like adding Suyu into the conversation without her contributing in any way meaningful.
I mean, what the fuck is a hero and a villain in this society? What exactly is good and evil if you just boil it down to, oh, if you break the rules, you're a villain?
Yeah, this doesn't really add into anything, and she takes it back after this arc ends anyway, so it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It just puts in unnecessary drama. Now, it would have meant something if it was, if it was Ida who said that. Maybe kind of like, although I guess that would be backtracking from his development, but he more than likely probably would have said that, if only for the sake of, oh, I want my friends to like not do the same dumb mistake that I did during the Stain arc and everything. With Suyu, we barely know anything about her character or her thought process, and we don't understand if that was her intention or not until she actually said it, so who the fuck cares?
Yeah, also we noticed that Deku gains more scars on his arm. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
And Sirius Sanic punches Deku in the face.
Yeah.
And then Explosion Man is being, basically trying to get so basically the League of Villains are trying to recruit Explosion Man because they've been noticing his behavior.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. One of the things that Shigaraki said to Bakugo is that, I know that the Hero Society hurt you. It's like, hurt him how? This kid is like one of the big three in Class A. He was first place in the friggin' tournament arc and has one of the best quirks in the most powerful quirks in the entire series. How the hell is he suffering? I mean, just because he's just an angry asshole doesn't mean he's just gonna shoot up a school, And
I actually think that's what Bakugo actually said in his own way. It's just like, nah, I want to be a hero, fuck you. And he tries to explode Handsman, which was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it's cool, but at the same time, really? You wasted that many resources. You made a plan that admittedly, this did work, but at the same time, they could have done so many other things with what we know now about their powers and abilities to ensure that every single kid in that force would have been dead, right? You wasted all this resources just to recruit one kid who you should know for a fact that he would not want to join you.
It's like they're doing Naruto again, like the Sasuke retrieval arc, except Sasuke went willingly.
Yeah, and Bakugo doesn't want to. They weren't even placating to his insecurities at all,
if this was being they're trying to groom him and tempt him and he decided to go with them willingly, then it would have fucking worked. Because when you watch the Naruto arc and they're trying to save Sasuke, they beat his Sasuke's bodyguards or something like that, and Naruto fights Sasuke, but Sasuke says fuck you, beats the fuck out of Naruto and goes to Orochimaru. And by the way, because the fact that Naruto and the others did that, they actually saved Sasuke for a couple of years because Orochimaru was going to go absorb him or something like that, or take over his body.
Yeah, so there's that. So the kids are going off to try to find out where the League of Villains hideout is so they can rescue Bakugo. So while that's happening, hey, they got these dumb disguises, which is a dumb gag, whatever.
Yeah,
and
also,
they noticed that there are a bunch of people are like, discrediting the UA school for the villain attack. It's
they see that on the news on the big TV, and I'm like wondering, like, it took the media this long to discredit them. I mean, Jesus Christ, there was like a literal attack on their front doorstep.
Yeah, it was at their front doorstep, and like one of the pro heroes actually got hurt, and some of the other kids were actually kind of injured during the attack as a whole. And so, like, it took you guys only now to want to discredit the UA Academy or whatever. It just doesn't really make all that much sense. And I understand that, this would definitely be something that would happen in real life, but honestly, the fact that it took this long and for these reasons, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, dude, if this happened in normal school, this would be like front page material on the hour. Like, people would be swarming, like, what the fuck is going on? This shouldn't have happened. What the fuck?
And even in this recent attack on the school, in the training camp, the heroes mostly won. They managed to get most of the students safe, and they captured 3 villains. And it's going to be forgotten by the next day, just mostly because of the fact that, hey, these guys are heroes and they're trying to save everybody, So I don't know. The impact that this is supposed to have on their credibility just isn't working.
Like, you see, like a Eraserhead apologize in public, and they're like, "Oh my god, he apologized." What the?
Yeah, and,
like, I know that like apologies in Japanese culture are an important thing, but like that's because personal honor and stuff. But he's just apologizing because he's like, yeah, we fucked up, we tried and we fucked up. It was out of our hands.
I mean, it wasn't even all that much of a fuck up. I don't know. It just feels kind of awkward to me because I guess it's just me projecting more of my common sense onto the issue, because people would definitely react like this, and if this were to happen in real life, it would still be bullshit and wrong, but in this case, that's kind of the point, and it makes sense. I just feel like, I don't know, it was done a lot better, or that I liked it better either or in like World Trigger, because a similar thing kind of happened, and the funny thing is that kind of worked there, because there was a lot of information and stuff about Border, which is the main organization, the good guys in that show.
Yeah, they're quite good guys.
Yeah, that's actively being kept from the public, and there's so much stuff that they do not know about the stuff happening with the neighbors and all this shit with like the different dimensions and stuff like that. So, the fact that Osamu kind of spoils some of their activities, which ends up being kind of a net win for them publicly was actually like a huge friggin' deal. Granted, it brought in some of its own troubles later on in the series, because that show actually understands the concept of consequences, but I feel like that was done a lot better because there was actually shit to lose. They had something to lose, But I guess this also makes sense in this show because, to heroes in My Hero Academia, your credibility is basically your life, You don't, you basically have to, you're basically a celebrity, and one wrong misstep will pretty much harm your career, no matter what the fuck you do. That's just how it is. And in that sense, this makes complete sense. So,
they could also talk about like the idealism, like the sort of like rose-tinted glasses that people have about famous people. Like, yeah, you know about them, but do you truly know them? Like, you kind of view them as like gods, or how you put them on a pedestal. Like, they could talk about that, or like how heroes have to live to this like Olympian ideal.
I think what makes this scene kind of awkward to me is that I think it's because of the fact that this aspect hasn't really been expanded as much as it should have. The idea that, oh yeah, with one wrong move, the public will just basically betray you,
Which begs in question, why the fuck are you a hero in the first place? Like, I know you're supposed to be selfless and stuff, but
I mean, why
should you risk your neck out for people if they're just gonna stab you in the back?
I mean, the same reason why people become celebrities, I guess. And like, you know, overall, like people need heroes in order to survive, and it's also to kind of regulate the superpowers in the world and all that shit. And because, you know, somebody's gotta stop villains and people gotta eat, you know?
Yeah.
So
So anyway, so the heroes, the hideout, they raid the League of Villains hideout, and just, you know, the League of Villains get fucking jumped.
All Might and like a bunch of other heroes just kind of just jump. Pretty much Shigaraki and the rest, while a team of other heroes like Mountain Lady and Genus kind of just raid where the kids are heading, which is like the Nomu farm or whatever. You know, the building where they're creating all the Nomu and shit. And oh yeah, Gran Torino is there too. And like
and while they're there, we actually meet one of the wild pussycats that went missing.
Yeah, they actually captured her too, which I don't know why they didn't put all that much importance to her capture either. You know, I find that kind of...
No, she was like mysterious, because when the villains attacked, you know, one of the other wild pussycats trying to contact her, it's just like, where are you? We need help. And you see like blood dripping on the ground and stuff. So obviously,
yeah, I know that.
Yeah, they hit her pretty quick. Like whatever happened, they got her very quick.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that, hey, maybe I know that we're talking about Bakugo and everything, and we're worried of whether he's safe or not, but we should still also, you know, talked a little bit about Ragdoll. Just saying.
Yeah. Also, why the fuck, you know, the second that Bakugo proved uncooperative, why didn't they just knock him the fuck out and send him to the Nomu farm?
Yeah, they totally could have done that. I mean, granted,
why didn't they capture other students to take to the Nomu farm? Wouldn't that be fucking cool if like Bakugo lost his powers?
Yeah, that is also true. But you know,
imagine that he doesn't have his powers anymore, and he's like, I'm better than you. Oh wait, I can't do explosions. What the fuck?
Yeah, they probably could have knocked him out at least somehow, but whatever, I guess. I'll be right back.
They outnumbered him like fucking 5-1. I mean, the second he's trying to like blow up Handsman's face, one of them could have just side punched him, and then they're like, fuck it, Nomu farm it is. So so we're up to the Nomu farm part, and who do we meet? Who comes out when they find one of the wild pussycats? They find All For One.
Yep, the main villain of the entire series, and who's also voiced by freaking the same guy who voiced I think Ratchet in Transformers Prime, and he does a really good job.
Oh, cool. Now, so we moved to episode 48.
Yeah, so what basically happened was that All For One shows up. He basically teleports all the villains into the general vicinity of the Nomu farm and everything. The kids, you know, when they saw him and sensed his presence, they immediately basically shit bricks from his very aura or whatever. You know, he was that dangerous. You know, they can sense all the bloodlust and hate coming from him and everything, which I feel, okay, kind of overplayed, but fuck it, whatever. You know, you're trying to hype up the main villain the whole show, whatever. So he basically, like, nearly kills Best Genus, and I say nearly, despite the very visceral way he was beaten the shit out of, because, you know, spoiler alert, he survives after this. Yeah, nice shot, All For One. So basically,
main villain, he can't even kill someone. What the fuck?
I don't know. Deku and the others managed to like get Bakugo back when some of the heroes, including All Might, start intervening. And it's like, okay, I like everything else about this except for the part where Deku is like, he won't listen to anyone else's, you know, accept their help except for Kirishima, you know, the spiky hair heart guy. And it's like, fucking really, dude? I mean, granted, for the most part, I can understand this, but Deku, I don't think Bakugo has any room to care when he is in the middle of a battle zone with 6 other psychopaths. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. All For One versus All Might. The main villain versus, you know, the biggest...
I do want to mention something as well. Is that when All For One shows up, he goes to Handsman and says, like, it's okay. Like, for some reason, All For One is actually a better mentor than fucking All Might is.
Yeah, he's kind of a father figure to Shigaraki.
He's supportive. He's supportive. He's supportive of Shigaraki. Yeah, he tells him, it's okay, I'm going to give you a second chance. Like, he's actually, like, supportive and tries to actually be a good mentor. Like, why can't All Might be this good?
I mean, All Might is also pretty supportive. The problem isn't it isn't that he isn't supportive. It's just that he's not really giving good advice.
Like,
I mean,
All for One seems to be doing better in that mentorship department, which I think is really weird because All for One is this fucked up mega psychopath, God knows what else, and then you see him as like this fatherly figure to Totoro, to Handsman, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but this actually creates a pretty interesting dynamic between the two of them, which actually adds to the creepiness of his character, which I thoroughly enjoy. But anyway, we get to the big fight itself, the fight between All Might and All for One, the battle that has been hyped up since like season 2 and everything, and the fight is kind of boring.
Yeah, so episode 48, episode 48, the battle sort of starts, they're fighting. Do you want to go for episode 49?
Sure. The episode's titled One for All, because of course it is. And basically...
So in this episode, we see how All Might became All Might, and we see that his mentor, where he got All for One from.
Yeah, his mentor's name Nashimura.
Nashimura. And she is special for another reason as well. Not just because she is All Might's mentor, but because she's also Handsman's grandmother.
Yeah, apparently. Because it turns out, right, that basically, when Nana was still being a hero, her husband basically got killed in a villain attack or some shit. He suffered some kind of accident. So like he put her son up to adoption. That kid ended up having his own family or whatever. And then after that, out came Shigaraki, and for whatever reason, he was abandoned and had a shitty life. And then that's when All for One basically picked him up and started raising him and just kind of turning him into the sick son of a bitch that he is. So a couple things to note here. One thing, I actually like the fact that Nana actually makes this mistake with like putting her kid up for adoption. It kind of shows that even though Nana represents a lot of the hope that goes into heroism and all that, she's still privy to make mistakes and be an actual human with her own insecurities and hangups.
Yeah, like it's similar to that Coda kid. I mean, she didn't want to leave her son alone, or she didn't want to have her son taken away from her. And so she figured that in order to keep him safe, it's that, he doesn't know that I'm his mother or something like that. And that's like I think like her as a mother, I think that'd be the hardest decision she has to make. But the problem is there's this knockback effect of, what happens that when you're not around, when you're not there, and some fucking psychopath takes your kid or your grandchildren under its wing.
Yeah, my problem with how this backstory was done, however, is that there was literally no hint towards this as far as I can tell, before all this shit happened.
No, there wasn't. Like it was just like, oh yeah, he's your mentor's grandchild. Are you going to kill him? All Might? Your mentor's precious grandchild?
Yeah, you're going to put him in jail? It's like, I mean, like, potentially, yes, this is actually really cool and interesting. The problem is that this just comes right out of nowhere, and this is thoroughly unearned for Shigaraki as a character, because like he wasn't even present, so we don't even get his reaction to All Might learning the truth about him. That's another thing that really bugs me about it. And it's just that the impact of this whole reveal just feels, again, this is friggin' what I said before. Friggin' Shao the Hedgehog syndrome. You're just adding shit onto the character that wasn't put in before.
Well,
and yet it's done even worse.
It's like the reverse of Joker. I mean, Joker already is interesting and his backstory doesn't matter. Like if you can, like Joker's already cool, but if you can add a backstory to him, then it makes him even cooler. Like it's adding to the character. But here they're like, oh yeah, let's make a backstory to why this character's interesting. Like, no, you make this character interesting and then give me the backstory.
Are you low-key shilling the new Joker movie right now?
Fuck no.
Oh man. But like, yeah, Shigaraki wasn't really much of an interesting character before this reveal, and after this he does get a lot more interesting moments, but the problem is that we should have gotten at least hints of this aspect of his character beforehand to really like make this weighty. Also, All
mean, if you
Might's
want,
reaction to it, like, I understand what they were trying to do there too, but really, him screaming like he's freaking SpongeBob, that's
and I
really.
love it how All for One is smiling, and he's like, heh, 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 heh.
Yeah,
You couldn't save them all, hero.
yeah, I mean, yeah, this is another interesting aspect that this reveal actually delivers. You know, it covers an aspect of Hero Society that didn't really get expanded upon. It's like, yeah, what if you weren't heroes aren't able to save everybody. There's always gonna be people who slip through the cracks and just become awful people. You know, that's just that's the way the world works. And there's not really much of a real way to stop that. And that's interesting.
Yeah,
The problem
it
is
also
that a lot
showcases how terrifying All for One is. Like, not only is he a powerful combatant, but also he's a fucking intelligent and skilled manipulator.
like this is the guy who basically ruled the world at one point, which makes it all the more disappointing where during the fight, like, okay, let me set the stage for you guys, all right? Let me give you a good idea of how big dick energy this man is supposed to be, right? This is the guy who is a master manipulator who basically like was the one behind all of the plans so far, right? Mainly, anyways. You know, he's the guy who's recruited some of the better villains of the series into the league. He is the guy who at one point ruled the entire planet, and it like had so many superpowers and quirks and abilities that he has cultivated throughout the years to the point where he is able to cheat death itself. This is the guy who literally wounded All Might. And what does he do during this fight? Oh, he just sends a bunch of shockwaves and make his arm bigger. What? And I get why? Honestly, like seriously, just why? And like, keep in mind, All Might is still able to hang tough with the dude, despite him being in a weakened state. Like, I know that it's foreshadowed that both of them are relatively weaker than how they were when they first fought each other, apparently. But come the fuck on. You would think that All for One would have, oh, I see your weakness, and would have taken advantage of that shit.
Also, should we mention what All for One's quirk is, by the way?
I mean, All for One's quirk is basically the ability to take away people's quirk and like use their powers to basically like make different combinations of those quirks, which makes even less sense of why he lost. Well, yeah,
oh,
spoiler
gee, man,
alert,
he has more
loses.
than one quirk. Holy shit.
Don't even. We're not even nearly there yet.
I know,
but this is stupid. You had every other aspect of this villain ready and waiting to be the best parts of this show, and you dropped the ball in terms of choreography and all that, like actual battle strategy and stuff like that, which is really disappointing. And like, the show has a weird track record when it comes to this sort of thing, if you would notice. And like, I understand that a lot of the show, you know, it's more of a, you know, it can be more of a character study and more of like a thematic breakdown of the series and everything, rather than like, you know, focusing on actual fighting choreography and stuff like that. But the problem is that My Hero is very well much intended to balance these two aspects. There is no balance here. And it just hypes up this one event to the point where what actually happens, at least on screen, aside from the big dramatic stuff, just doesn't really register, and you just end up with a boringly structured fight. It's not like with you know, the final battle in part 1 of JoJo, where yeah, there wasn't really all that much fighting or choreography or many stages to the battle either. But like,
but it was manly as fuck.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It was still in line with how the series did its fights beforehand. It had a track record that it was following. With My Hero, they're just skipping it. They're just breaking that record, and for no reason. And this is definitely a show that is more so focused on not only like strategic aspects of fighting, but also like, you know, characters moving around a lot, you know? But there isn't much of that except for all the boring stuff that you would probably see in DBZ or something.
Yeah. Also, if you have pretty much, if you like, how the fuck did he lose if he has all these quirks? Like, how old is All for One exactly? I mean, this guy's probably fucking old as fuck.
Yeah, he's like over 100 canonically.
Yeah, so if you're over like 100 years old in a superpowered society, like, why doesn't he have like a fuck ton of powers? Like,
yeah, he does, and yet he loses against a guy who just has super strength. It's
yeah, like what? Where is all those powers? Like he must have he must have some. I mean, yeah, he's weaker than he used to be, but he must have a lot of powers still.
Yeah, he does. The problem is that they don't let him use them because if they did let him do it, he would have lost, and we wouldn't want that. Well, would we? You know, we
yeah, and also it would break up
Shigaraki.
And it would also break up the scene of where like All Might is back to his normal phase. He's staring towards the camera and pointing, and Deku's like, "Oh fuck, I actually have to take. Oh fuck, I have to be All Might now. Shit."
Oh yeah, and like I mean, granted. But still, though, oh yeah, one thing about that. By the way, the United States of Smash, you know, the scene itself, isolated from everything else we talked about, is fucking lit. I will not deny
I fucking love that scene. He's like, United States of Smash. It's like,
yeah, visually it was stunning. The voice work for it was great, and I
love the fucking English version of it. It's fucking amazing. It's like,
yeah, and like, you know, this is pretty much bringing back, you know, people's faith, you know, in the heroes and everything by having him stop this unbelievable evil, and like, All Might's still going strong even though he's injured and everything, and it's great. And you know, but the problem is that, you know, the fight itself could have been better. So here, you know, it's kind of a microcosm of the whole series where it's not too bad, but not too great. Like, it's earnest and knows what it wants to do, and it isn't terrible at doing it. But the standards that it sets for itself does not match its actual ethic. You know. If you understand,
we should also talk about. Should we also talk about the scene as he's doing that? He sees the spirit of his mentor or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of a diegetic thing, rather. But yeah, he does kind of go into the Avatar state. And like, to be fair, the last part of the fight, he does kind of do a clever roundabout way to get a good shot in All for One. So I will give him credit for that, but I wish there was more of that during the fight itself. And then, like, another thing is that, honestly, I wish All Might had died there. Not because I hated his character, on the contrary, I liked the guy. But I feel like it would have been way more thematically poignant if he was dead. Although I do understand what they were trying to do, especially with, like, how certain things ended in later arcs, which is definitely going to be expanded upon in season 4, in the sense that, hey, All Might is still going to be here, he's just going to be really depowered and won't be able to, like, actively do anything.
I mean, I like that episode where it's like, you know, he's finally passing on the flames. Like, he's basically saying to Deku, it's like, it's time to man up, Deku. Like, I can no longer be the hero I need to be. It's up to you. It falls to you. You know, passing on the torch. And I like that aspect about it. But other than that, and the United States of Smash, which was awesome, the fight was just kind of, you know, ground pound, beat 'em up. And it's like, well, I like it. It's just wasn't that great. I've seen better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kaiser Shounen, episode 50, start.
Alright, you got it. So, basically, you know, everybody in the police force, you know, after the, God damn it, I had a perfect joke for this. Fucking, after the not-so-epic battle to end all epic battles, all the police and Gran Torino and pretty much everybody and their goddamn mother is wigging out over the fact that, yeah, we might have beaten All for One, but we kind of lost, you know, All Might in the process. Of course, he's not dead, which is honestly what I would prefer, kind of. But he's retired. It's been publicly announced that he's retired, basically, and everybody's not doing so well. And so, the detective or lieutenant in the police and Gran Torino visit All Might in the hospital. They talk a bit about how, it's kind of fucked up how Shigaraki is apparently Nishimura's grandson. Now, they asked contact any of her family after she died, and they said that, well, Na didn't want us to. All she did was, like, after her husband died, she gave her child over to foster care, and they off from there. Now, acknowledge that, hey, All Might is pretty much completely useless now because of what happened. So, be a teacher at UA anymore because it's way too dangerous and villains will definitely try to come after him. So the best he could do now is probably visit the kids in order to, like, announce something that's gonna be happening in UA later. After that, we cut to Todoroki and back into his house, and his dad is pretty much having a fit because he's pretty much been named the #1 hero because, All Might had to step down. Which makes sense, and this is actually a pretty interesting development because this is pretty much kind of similar to one of my favorite manga series, Vinland Saga. Not spoiling anything because the anime is on right now and I want you guys to fucking watch it, you fucking filthy casuals. But with that in mind, it's sort of along the lines of, the rival character gets what they want, but not in the way that they like to or the way that is fulfilling to their character. And this sets up a pretty interesting conflict to go later on.
Yeah,
I just wish the setup that they did during the fight with All for One would have been a little bit better and less overly dramatic, but whatever.
Yeah, I actually like that scene with Endeavor. Like, he's like, all his exercise equipment's like destroyed. He's like, he's fucking raging. He's fuming. It's just like, I wanted to be #1 when I beat All Might, not become #1 when he retires.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what Endeavor wanted to do. Like, that's what Endeavor wanted to do. Like, Endeavor wanted to surpass All Might, but guess what? He can't surpass All Might because All Might's already fucking given up the race.
Pretty much. It's like the extent of, like, you wanna beat this secret boss in a video game, but, like, nah, you ask your next door neighbor who already passed it to do it for you, and you're just like, fuck, I wish I did it myself. I'm a cuck. I'm a little bitch boy. I can't do shit myself. I can't beat the Dark Souls or whatever these kids are on about these days. I don't know. Well, samurais are in it, right? I don't know. But anyways, after that scene, we cut back to Izuku, who basically got to the beach where, from the very first episode of the series, or first couple episodes.
Yeah, it's a nice callback, isn't it? It's a nice callback.
Yeah, nice callback. During that scene, All Might, as you can expect, he was kind of peed off that, Deku was seriously reckless and went to All for One's crib without his permission and everything. He was reckless and shit, but we all know that this whole mentality is gonna get validated any fucking ways. So it's not really gonna change anytime soon. And so, Yeah,
also, I don't think they're not really doing much if Deku keeps on fucking doing it.
Yeah, but same shit, different toilet. They had this heartfelt scene. All Might says that, I'm gonna be looking after you, but you're wearing the big shoes now, basically. Well, not as big as me, but you get the picture. You're gonna have to become the new symbol of peace, and, with me gone, you need to be prepared for it. So, buck up, Junior.
Yeah, he's like, clean your room, bucko, because the real shit starts today.
Clean your room, bucko.
You can't change the world until you clean your room.
I have something to share with you regarding that a little bit later, but anyway,
I know.
Jordan Peterson was in this show. But anyways, after that, then basically the teachers in UA talked to All Might about we're going to be transforming UA into a boarding school. Now, why the fuck wasn't the greatest hero school in the entire planet or even in the entire country wasn't already a boarding school?
Or at least had that option. Or at least had that option.
At least have that option open because, like, they know these kids. I understand that they weren't expecting villains to, turn up in the school this soon and this frequently. But come the fuck on, they should have expected this, especially given how allegedly far away UA is, relative to where the other kids live.
Yeah, like I actually went to a boarding school that was I actually went to a boarding school that was actually like a fair, it was like I live in New Zealand, so where my boarding school was in the South Island, and that's like, I live in the North Island. So, and the thing with that particular school is that, if you lived because it was in Christchurch, if anyone knows where that place is, but if you lived in Christchurch, you didn't exactly have to be a boarding student. You could just go there, and take classes there and then leave at the end of the day, Yeah. But, if you lived in Christchurch, or say you had like guardians or parents in Christchurch, or like family that you could live with, you can just do that. You had that option.
Right. It's more like a community it was more like a community college than like a boarding school anyways, but I feel like it should have been that way since the friggin' beginning, honestly, because, that would have been incredibly practical and really, really forthcoming. And don't say that this wasn't in the budget either, because they said jack shit about that too. So
yeah, also, I figured, there's multiple reasons why dorms could be practical. For example, one, a student could have, an abusive family situation they just want to get the fuck away from. Or they need space, or, it could be a place where the teachers can keep the students, accountable, where, if anything happens...
General, stick them in there so that, they would be in a place where they could be protected and shit, and they will actually be in a space where they can practice and stuff like that after school.
Yeah, also say for example villains attack them, they're gonna be together. Worst case scenario, at least they're together, so at least they have some sort of a fighting chance.
Exactly. It's only by the grace of the villains always have attacked while the students are together anyways. But, moving on. So All Might and Eraserhead decide to go out, visit some of the kids' houses, and tell them that, given the choice of either, going back to UA and entering the boarding dorms, or just to stay out of it because shit got too dangerous. First one they went to was Earphone Jack's house, which no one cares, so we're skipping that. Go's house. And we meet everyone's favorite MILF waifu, Mitsuki Bakugo. Whatever.
Giggity.
Yeah, nothing says giggity but more than a gender bent version of a pre-established character. Just the same character, but with tits.
Also, Bakugo's father is really different from what you would picture them as. If you see Bakugo as this fucking raging alcohol, rage fucking angst-filled teenager, and you're wondering what are his parents like? And it's oh, this is a bit different.
Yeah, but honestly, they're still kind of shit parents, because okay, not only does Mitsuki also kind of yell at Bakugo for, oh, you were too weak and you caused so much trouble for UA, even though it was practically out of his hands in that scenario anyways. After that, during the conversation, Mitsuki goes on this whole spiel about, she's always had trouble with Bakugo's attitude and his, friggin' overconfidence and all that stuff, and he was happy that the teachers in UA, got to straighten them out. Okay, bitch, I understand that, parents, aren't necessarily the best at understanding what's best for their kids, especially when they are as unruly as Bakugo is. I can definitely understand that. But, held him accountable and given him the tough love he needed to, understand that, hey, being an asshole like this is not cool. Long time ago. This kid has been bullying kids since, he was in kindergarten. And everybody's just been super complacent in this whole entire thing. And I understand, it's about Bakugo has a great quirk and everything, so to the point where they just outright excuse it. But this is way too late in the series for this explanation to really resonate anyways.
Yeah, isn't that how you fucking create villains?
The whole thing, despite her strong-willed nature, would not have any patience for this crap. You'd think that she would put the kid in the friggin' therapist a lot sooner.
Yeah, also, isn't it creating fucking potential villains? What happens if he starts taking apart animals and shit? Or it's gonna be a slippery slope, and it's just there, he's now a serial killer. Don't worry, he had a great quirk, so we're gonna ignore it. It's so fucking ridiculous.
I understand that it's it's this whole circular, self-fulfilling prophecy that the Hero Society kind of profits off of. It creates a system where it creates really hurt and disenfranchised people in order to become villains so that there will be heroes to stop them, and the cycle repeats itself because fuck you, it's capitalism. But, the show doesn't really do a good job of, expanding on those ideas, even up to this point in the manga.
I mean,
so who the fuck cares?
It's like, this is not a fucking great society. It fucking creates villains by the fact that you have heroes.
Yeah, which isn't entirely a bad thing, but again, they don't really do anything with that. But, so, whatever. They agree that, hey, Bakugo is gonna stay in the dorms. All Might walks outside. And Bakugo asks him, hey, what's your connection with Deku? And All Might's just oh, he's just another student. And why the fuck you lying? Well, I know it's what he said. But that's basically what was going on through his head as he goes back to his bitch of a mom, honestly. And All Might, is a bit feels kind of sad because he couldn't tell him the truth, even though
Bakugo has always been suspicious ever since Deku got a quirk.
Yeah,
this is the person I bullied who couldn't fight back, but now apparently he can. What the fuck? Was he fucking with me the entire time? Was he in Bakugo's mind? It's wait, was this guy stronger than me the entire time? Or he would be able to I'm not going to talk about fucking power levels and shit, but if Deku had those powers, at that age, he could have easily fucked up Bakugo pretty easily.
Yep.
And in Bakugo's mind, it's just was he pretending to be weak to fucking troll me? Could he have beat the fuck out of me at any time, but decided not to because I wasn't worth it? Are you doubting my power, Deku?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. And overall, that scene was alright.
Yeah.
Speaking of Deku, that's where we're heading towards next, and All Might basically meets up with Deku and his mom, Deku's mom, and this was actually pretty interesting scene because Deku's mom was pretty much against Deku going back to UA and trying to become a hero and everything because look how dangerous it was. Look how injured he has gotten. Shit has actual fucking consequences, you think. And then All Might pretty much just prostrates himself in front of her name and saying that, yeah, but hey, I'm going to look after him. He's done a lot of good. He saved a child's life. He's helped me, and I have complete faith in him. So please just and I have faith in the future of UA and everything. So please, I will even give my very life to protect this kid. And Inko is all okay, fine, but promise you're going to look after him and stay alive in order to raise him and help him become a great hero, and basically agreeing to everything. And the episode ends off with All for One, in a maximum security prison called Tartarus, saying that yes, he's basically pulling an Aizen. This is all part of his master plan, saying that hey, his imprisonment is just going to help cultivate Shigaraki into becoming a worthy successor and wrecking shit from here on out.
All according to Keikaku.
He could totally probably break out, and this whole thing with making Shigaraki a successor would not even mean much of anything. I understand where he's coming from. I understand having a successor like Shigaraki as a contingency plan, as kind of a way of. But the thing is that All for One and Shigaraki have the same goal. It's just that one is a fucking man-child and the other isn't.
Yeah, but it could be that. You know what? You know what I think it is. I think it's because All for One is dying. I think he doesn't have much time left, and that's why he's passing on the torch.
I hope that's what his deal is.
I think it would make sense because it
makes no friggin' sense.
If you consider All for One's character, why would he pass on the torch? It's because he's dying. If I'm an immortal fucking being, I've got years, centuries to fucking pull off my Keikaku plan. But if I suddenly are becoming mortal, or I'm dying, and it's shit, I don't have centuries upon centuries to do this shit. I've got to do this in 10 years. I need to pass on the torch.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense, because honestly, I would understand All for One, cultivating Shigaraki is the ultimate evil, is this really fucked up experiment, But which is still stupid, have your own kid and just treat him like shit anyways, and honestly, doesn't really excuse the fact that he could have killed All Might right then and there out by saying like, oh, he was too tired to get away.
Yeah, also, All For One has fucking God how many quirks? I mean, surely there has to be like a teleportation quirk in there somewhere, or a quirk that allows him to get the fuck away.
That teleported All Might and the other heroes and villains from well, not All Might, but all the League of Villains when they were getting raided by All Might and company. He had a teleportation quirk. He had it, and he even used it during the fight. Ways he could have used that in order to instantly kill All Might, but he didn't do it.
Wait, if he still has that power, he can escape any fucking time he wants.
Oh, not entirely, because, like, I'm pretty sure, like, this is just me guessing here, but we know that, you know, the cuffs in MHA pretty much inhibit quirks. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Or that, like, the cell and how he's held operates under the same technology. So, I don't know. That's the best guess I got.
Yeah, but it still seems like that he holds all the cards. Like, it's like, Hannibal Lecter. Like, he's still in jail, but he still holds all the fucking cards.
Right.
Like, he's there because he wants to be there. Like, you haven't done shit. Like, he's there because he needs to be there or he wants to be there for whatever reason he can think of. Like, it could be any fucking thing. He could just be there because he wants to troll you because he's dying and he wants to do, he wants his last moments to be fucking trolling you.
Pretty much. So, after that, we move on to episode 51.
Oh yes, moving into the dorms. So all the students from UA get permission to go to the dorms, and, Eraserhead does that kind of thing where he, like, has everyone say, like, okay, who knew about Deku and etc. going out without permission? And everyone's like... And Eraserhead's like, under normal circumstances, I would have had you all expelled, but, fuck it, we're bending the rules. But wait, I thought people that broke the rules are a villain. Quiet you. Don't question it.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of that, that's kind of gonna come in later. But so the whole episode is basically them getting into their rooms and just them.
Yeah, doesn't Exploder Man give someone money?
Oh yeah.
He also gives them money. He's like fucking Yakuza boss. Like, yeah, Explosion Man, gives Bakugo, that's right. Bakugo gives money to fucking hardening dude, doesn't he? He's like,
he gives it to Kirishima.
Yeah, he gives it to Kirishima. He's like, here. He like grabs out some money. He's like, here you go. And he's just like, oh, what's this, boss? And it's like,
he took it from Denki. That's how he got them. He just took Denki to like nearby bush and just like basically just jacked him and robbed him.
Total hero material right there.
Yeah, I know, right? But like, yeah, the entire episode is basically a filler episode. A bunch of not so funny jokes about the characters interacting very superficially, whatever. At the end of the episode, they talk with like Tsuyu because like, oh, she was upset about what she said right before Deku and the others tried to say Bakugo and everything. And it's like, okay, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, don't we see like a scene of like Uraraka like staring at like Deku because she's got a crush on old Deku, she wants to fucking smash and...
She wants a Detroit smash, if you know what I'm saying.
Wink. Oh dude, I actually wonder what would happen if Deku went 100% smash.
God.
Fucking break her in half, man. Alright, so
that kind of reminds me of freaking, you know that part in the Cell Saga when like Goku and Gohan are like just in Super Saiyan all the time.
Yeah.
So like we can infer that like him and Chi-Chi kind of smashed and like had Goten just popped up from that afterwards, right? We can. Yeah. It's safe to infer that, right?
Yeah, I think Goku was like, I could possibly die, so why not? I'll spend some time with my wife.
And yet he still never kissed her. Even to this point in the series, like,
I think he does. I think he does. It's just like she's the one who takes the lead. Like she's the fucking.
Oh no! Like it's confirmed in Super that him and Chi-Chi never kiss.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I thought I brought it up because I thought you knew that, but yeah.
No, I didn't. That's weird.
Marriages, am I right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, this is what happens when you marry an alien whose only primary concern is war. Like, I'm pretty sure that Chi-Chi has to be the one that instigates it, but I think, like, during that Cell Saga, he was like, I'm possibly gonna die, so maybe I should spend time with my wife one last time.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Okay.
So episode 52 start.
Yeah, create those ultimate moves. You know, what are you, fucking Captain Falcon? Fuck off. So, basically, this episode is about the kids basically being told that, hey, it's time to get your hero licenses, so you guys gotta train up.
Oi mate, get your hero license. Oi mate, you chicken wanker, where's your hero license?
So like, yeah, they're gonna train to get their hero licenses, and they specifically have to train in order to come up with special moves and shit. So here's the thing about this that I'm kind of miffed about. Fuck wasn't coming up with special moves, you know, within the curriculum already. I know it's somewhat implied that, hey, you would be able to create these special moves if you had, did all that binge using your quirk training that we did in the camp earlier. But still, with the limited amount of control that they already had, they still could have come up with their own special moves to use. Like even Bakugo did. You know, that howitzer blitz or whatever he pulled in the tournament arc and shit? That was his own special move that he made up. Like, you're telling me none of the other kids thought the same? Especially since most, if not all of them, are fans of superheroes?
Yeah, like, they would know fucking special moves. It's like Super Sentai shit, you know, or like in G Gundam, like, everyone knows the fucking burning finger.
Exactly.
Like, that's a special move. Like, he's doing the move! Erupting! Burning finger! And he's like fucking going through like another Gundam's cockpit. Like, if you're a fan of that, you'll know, like, oh yeah, that's one of his special moves. That's like a move he does.
I had superpowers. If I had fucking superpowers, I would totally come up with however many special moves I can think of.
Like, dude, I would name my attacks, no matter how impractical it is to do that. Like, I would name them.
Yeah, I would totally do that, honestly. I
like,
just
go
don't...
fucking ham, man. Like, you know what's funny? Like, Boku no Hero would be cool as, like, a fucking Super Sentai show. Like, explode, like, he would be like, Panzer Hell Grenade, or something like that. Like, it would be, like, play off the fucking cheesiness.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, they kind of do, but they don't really, like, do it all that well, honestly, in my opinion. But anyways, so, oh yeah, one other thing. It's about the hero license exam. So, here's the thing. The hero exam, 80%, passing, okay? Not entirely all that terrible, until we get to the actual test itself and we see how it operates. And you're gonna understand how kind of messed up this is. Well, perspective anyways. So we get a bunch of scenes of the kids training and trying out special moves in like this big room where like the ectoplasm hero, the guy who can clone himself, basically trains his students and gives them tips and stuff. And they also gave them access to friggin' what was it?
Didn't they get access to new costumes and shit?
Oh yeah, the supporting where we meet that gear girl Mina again, and
she falls on Deku, and like Deku's like shit, and it's like, oh, she's got big tit tatas. Urako's jealous.
Oh man, MAT alert! Oh wait,
Deku, Deku better not pop a boner, because it may be powered by One for All.
Oh yeah, no,
100% thrust.
Like imagine, like, okay, if All Might can make himself grow using One for All, just imagine like just Deku just nervously popping a boner and just ripping from his pants.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And shooting up the ceiling or some shit. Oh my god.
Okay, but anyway, aside from this fucking, it's like, she's on top of him. That's symbolic.
Right. So, okay, here's the thing. So, one other interesting thing is that, the kids have access to equipment they can use to create special moves. They can have gadgets.
Or to help them.
Or without them. Which, it actually makes pretty...
whatever you prefer, whatever floats your boat. Like, maybe you want to be like Devil May Cry, where you have, like, gadgets or weapons with your superpowers to make them, like, better than before.
Yeah.
You know, like
makes
Dante, you know, he has like swordsmith, trickster, royal guard, gunslinger, and it makes like his weapons, and you know, he does special things with his weapons and stuff. Or you know, like you know, empowering dynamic energy in his sword to make like this air slash thing, or empowering his bullets with demon energy to make them hit hard as fuck.
Yeah, pretty much shit like that. After that, you know, Deku has been trying hard to like think of what he can do with One for All at this point. He also got a new suit and everything, but he still wants to think about what his special move should be because, you know, his arms are kind of fucked up and he's starting to use them less and less, so he needs to improvise. So wait, he's been trying to imitate All Might this whole time by using fists. Oh, this is your line. This is where you're supposed to participate, man. Come on.
Oh, sorry, I was fucking staring. There was like a bird that went past. Anyway, if I remember correctly, he comes up with the brilliant revelation from the heavens above. Hallelujah! Oh wait, use my fucking legs.
Right? It's like,
oh my fucking god! Like the heavens above, a revelation. Hallelujah! Like what the fuck?
Oh my god! It's like, really? I mean,
it took you 51 episodes to figure that fucking out. Use my legs? What?
Doesn't All Might even use his feet anyways? Like, that's kind of stupid. But on top of that, like, okay, I can understand this whole, hey, Deku's trying to emulate All Might too much, and that's why, like, he was stuck in this narrow mindset of how to use the power effectively. But he's been coming up with stuff to circumvent the use One for All the entire freaking show, you know? Full cow, the finger flick thing, stuff like that are not within All Might's repertoire because of course it isn't. He's already been, like, aware of how to come up with other ways to not, my anyways. So it's like, why in the hell is this any different? Why did he come up with this now? If I had my way, he would have come up with this idea, like, right after he came up with Full Cow. Like, that's just common sense.
Like, yeah, also, like, in martial arts, like, majority of martial arts have fist and leg, like, you know, fist and kick techniques.
And this is why this is what I said earlier. They should have had a curriculum for these kids to learn martial arts and to come up with fighting styles with their,
you know,
friggin',
like if you ever played like Devil May Cry 5, like there's like, you know, the godlets that Dante gets where you start out with, which are like, you know. And the cool thing about these godlets is that it has two different modes. It has boxing mode and kick mode. Now, in kick mode, you do like fucking like capoeira type movesets, and in boxing mode, you're just going like left, right, jab, uppercut, and while you're using these godlets,
some ego shit.
Yeah, like during the, like if you use Balrog, which is the name of this devil arm, you could swap in between kick and punch mode, like interchangeably. So one moment you could be punching a demon, then next you're doing like a capoeira spin kick. And all this stuff, and it, you know, like, you know, mix it up.
Yeah, you know, again, this is why I said that this should have been like part of the school curriculum. I have no idea why it wasn't beforehand. I understand that maybe it's because they weren't exactly ready. But given what they've been through already, it doesn't even seem like it needs all that big of a threshold.
Like Deku's arms, like Deku's wrists are starting to fucking crack. Like, if he keeps doing this, like, he will actually lose function in his arms. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, basic. But yeah, the episode ends off with, like, hyping up his new fighting style, shoot style, which he, kinda, gets inspired off of, Tenya over. Because, you know, his whole fighting style is about using kicks. Hey, why doesn't Ida learn how to do punches and shit, you know? Oh, wait, no?
Well, actually, Ida would actually be pretty good with punches because of how fast he fucking is. Because, you know, acceleration. I mean, he would hit pretty hard with his punches.
Yeah, he definitely would. I mean, granted, he's not like a traditional speedster, and like it's directly the point of acceleration is directly connected to his feet, but still. Come on.
I mean, he could probably still punch very hard. Like if he does like where he's like running and shit, and he gets his fist ready to do like like an uppercut or stuff. Like he can still fucking hurt with enough momentum because of physics.
Because the momentum, you know.
Yeah.
It's like any episode. Also, you know, Bakugo, being the prodigy that he is, comes up with a bunch of special moves because honestly, he's one of the only people in the show who have common sense in regards to that. So whatever.
Oh my god, he's got two quirks. Mind blowing.
No, come on, dude.
He's got explode. Yeah, no, listen. By this series logic, common sense is an actual quirk. So.
Okay, you know that is true. But anyway, episode 53, which is basically by showing off their costume upgrades and basically them getting ready for the license exam. Now, a lot of these newer costumes look actually pretty cool. Momo's, of course, does not change because why wouldn't it? Of course, you know, out of all of them, Deku's outfit is the only one that changed all that much in a huge capacity. Honestly, the one with the least change in costume is probably let's see, Mineta, the pink chick, the tail guy who has the voice of Yamcha for whatever reason, and a bunch of the other side people no one cares about, but whatever.
You know, I would flip my shit if tail guy used Wolf Fang Fist.
I said Tien, not Yamcha.
I thought you said Yamcha.
I meant Tien.
Okay, never mind.
No, reverse that. You know, I would flip my shit if he used the Kiko Ho or something. Because that's apparently the only move that Toriyama, remember, he does. Yeah.
Or Solar Flare. Like Solar Flare, that was a cool move that he taught to Krillin.
Well, I'm not Plague of Gripes, you know, that's not in my territory, so, you know, let's move on.
Yeah, let's keep going.
After a few other unfunny gags, we head to the main center where they're about to participate in basically the tournament arc for this season.
Oh god, my excitement is so high.
Yeah, stakes are high.
Yeah, if they fail, they won't be able to get their fucking license. It's not like they can't try again next year.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But anyways, so they meet up with a bunch of the students from like other academies and stuff that are participating. There's this really loudmouth guy from an academy named Seiji. Yeah, Inase but I'm not gonna even bother.
I just call him Blow Man.
Really? You know what? You folks will find out later. But anyways, he seems to have a little bit of beef with friggin' Todoroki, which is gonna be expanded upon a little bit later. It's from another academy called Ketsubutsu Academy. Then they meet this guy who basically looks like Deku, but less of a bitch boy and no freckles, I don't think. No, he has no freckles. Make friends with each other, and he's totally not gonna backstab him guys anytime soon. You know?
Yeah, obviously, this is a hero test. Like, heroes are morally upstanding people. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
I know, right? But like, yeah, everybody like interacts with each other, and so they get right into before the test. So, okay, here's where things get screwy in a little bit. So, basically a worker from the Hero Public Safety Commission, basically addresses the students. He tells them that, like, yeah, you student, this is a very, very tough test. You know, we have a pretty high grading system and whatever, and ever since All Might has stepped down, all the other students basically need to step up. And I think he also mentions that, hey, there's also widespread influence of Stain's ideology, which really does not matter. So shut the fuck up about it if you matter. And here's where I'm gonna bitch.
Nah, go on. I'm fine.
Okay. Apparently, out of the 1,540 students that are participating in this test, only the first 100 students in this test are going to pass. But in the absolute shit.
Talk about fitting the herd.
Yeah, listen, this isn't just culling the herd. This is like mass. This isn't even Thanos. You know, this isn't even like what Thanos does. This is just like, just mass genocide. You know what I mean? Because, like, okay, keep in mind that there's already a pretty low rate of students that are able to get into the main hero course in these schools. There are only 2 hero course classes, you know? And then there's general education, and there's the support class that make gadgets and shit. Why we don't see any other students in there, we have no idea, but fuck it. But you're already having this small ass group of people that are actually gonna become heroes. And you're shooting yourselves in the foot by also making the practical exam about smashing robots when there are a bunch of students who can't smash robots. And now on top of that, you're telling me that out of the 1,540 kids that have been trained to become heroes, only 100 of them per year are going to pass and get their fucking license. And like, are you serious? And keep in mind, apparently this is a new revamping of the licensing exam that they did because we want to expect the best quality out of our students. Beyond that bullshit, are you friggin' kidding me? Like, just imagine when like 9/11 happened, right? Okay, and so like, hey, we're gonna change how we're going to do the exam to get into the army or the police force or whatever. And we're saying that, before we out of like the 10,000 police that only about like 6,000 or so are going to pass or whatever, okay, you're cutting from that to like after 9/11 and saying that only 1,000 people are going to pass this test. What are you on? Not only is this going to like limit how many actual heroes are going to be on the field in order to stop the villains and shit like that, but you're just practically asking for a bunch of kids to become villains. Like, this goes beyond the whole fulfilling prophesizing Skynet-like bullshit that the hero system is allegedly conducting. This is just shooting yourselves in the foot. It's the Shinso situation on a larger friggin' scale. And it makes no sense. Jesus. So, the first part of the test, is basically that, hey, students got these, like, tags on their bodies, and they are given these, like, plastic balls or whatever. Like, a student gets hit with all the balls on all the points, they basically get kicked out of the exam, and the ones that are still around and gathered the most points are going to move on. Yada, 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 you get the picture.
Yep.
We're about to conduct this whole test, and they're pretty much just dropped right in the middle of it after being split up. All the classes gather up together, and everybody is kind of showing off their new special moves and shit in order to block the balls or whatever.
Yeah, I actually do like the sort of amount of teamwork that they're all doing, which I think is pretty cool. But aside from that, like, this test only seems to like if your ability is combat applicable, like, it seems to benefit you more. But what happens if you're not combat applicable? What happens? What happens to you?
I don't know, because, like, I can name a couple of non-combat applicable characters that apparently pass this fucking thing. Don't ask me why, it just happens. So, I like the teamwork here. I'm guessing that, hey, it's not about, like, even if your quirk isn't combat applicable, if you work well together with your team, it's not going to matter. And if your quirk wasn't really combat applicable, then you wouldn't really be in the hero course at all. Invisible girl. So everybody just shows off their quirks and everything. The who looks like Deku show up be their friend at first is actually a piece of shit and basically tricked them or whatever, even though it's not even gonna amount to anything because, like, it didn't even do anything to dull their friggin' dull the way they fought at all anyways.
Well,
so
I mean, they're gonna be working together with their classmates anyway. That's just fucking simple common sense and tribalism.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for there to be this sort of weird ass bait and switch, but whatever.
Like,
Bakugo,
in worst case, like, he was just being friendly, like, it's like friendly competition. It's like, well, it's nice to meet you, good luck, like, I'm gonna try and win.
Yeah, Bakugo goes off on his own. Eraserhead meets up with this chick, apparently, who is basically this laughing fit hero who makes other people laugh. That's her quirk. And yet Aizawa is the only person who she couldn't make laugh. So they have this sort of like this pretty dumbass and dumb dynamic. Potentially this could be a really funny dynamic. It's a bit more funnier in the dub because of course it is. But honestly, the way they do it, the dialogue just doesn't really do the scenario all that much justice. What else? Oh yeah, everybody pretty much has their eyes on UA because of what happened during the sports festival and all the other shit that's been going on. So they want to prove themselves, and yeah, this puts the class as sizable disadvantage. Things are a little bit more tense now. That makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah, hey, we're gonna be testing heroes. By the way, team up and gang up on one particular group.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But, flexibility and all that. So that's
yeah, I know, good lessons. So we have episode 51. Fucking the guy that looks like Deku shakes up the fucking arena. There's an earthquake. Deku gets attacked again by titties. We have the fucking wind guy eliminate like 120 students by himself with his fucking wind powers, which is why I call him fucking Blowman. Deku rescues Urarako from falling from balls and shit. What else fucking happens? Nothing really fucking else happens. Like, they just got ninjas and crap.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the ninja scene. Yeah.
Nothing really happened much in episode. Like, nothing really happened out much in like episode 54. Like, Deku gets titties. He saves Urarako again. Blowback guy.
We see the loud guy who's really passionate about being a hero. Who controls the wind basically, and his costume is absolute shit. It makes no sense. I don't understand why it's built that way, but fuck it, whatever. Todoroki encounters some fucking ninja assholes, apparently.
That he beats the fuck out of.
Yeah, which, okay, if your guys are supposed to be ninjas, why the fuck didn't you just, sneak up on them? Like, really?
Yeah, it's like Assassin from like fucking Fate Zero. He's just like, here I am, fight me, bitches.
1v like, I don't know, for me, bro. Fuck.
Yeah, want to go for episode 55 now?
Yeah, sure. There's not much else to talk about here.
Okay. So episode 51 start.
Oh, right. So, Todoroki beat the fuck out of the ninja fuckers.
Go back to the Hidden Leaf Village plebs.
Yeah, we're this would be pretty satisfying for all the people keep on saying that, oh, this show rips off Naruto, man.
It kind of does, but Naruto rips off other things, so fuck it, who cares?
I mean, this is the shonen genre we're talking about. Everybody rips off everybody, so
creativity is dead and stagnant.
The machine runs itself, I tell you.
All right, let's just keep going.
After that, he beats the fuck out of him, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, apparently, Todoroki managed to get to the goal and encounters, the blow guy. Like, Todoroki remembers that, oh, yeah, I think I met this guy at, like, his entrance exam. Because apparently his entrance exam was different from the others because he got him through, like, recommendations or whatever. So, there's that. Everybody's working together. A team of the UA students with Momo, Froppy, Earphone Jack, and this guy no one cares about.
Yeah, I actually like that scene because they get attacked by like a bunch of students who I think one of them's got like a super high IQ and stuff. And they're like, oh, because we know what their quirks are, we're gonna fucking put them in a disadvantaged situation. Which by the way, is, I said this in the season 2 overview. Like, why are you guys showing off your powers in public when, people could, come up with ways to get around them? I mean, that's an example of what I mentioned.
Especially since this is a pretty cutthroat and professional, job, career anyways, being a hero and everything. Like, people have to compete with each other and shit in order to stay on top. So, like, doing this is pretty self-defeating anyways. Just saying. It's not like with America's Top Model or anything. There's actual shit.
Like if I was in this universe, like if I was actually like being a hero in this universe, like I would try and show off my powers the least or not make it obvious what my abilities are, because shit like this could happen.
That basically works with like Eraserhead, which I'm not sure how the fuck he got his license, and barely anyone knows about his quirk apparently. So I don't know. It's really shifty, but yeah, they face off against these girls, basically a part of like an all-girl school, which I don't know why an all-girl school would even be a thing in this universe, because again, you want to cultivate as many heroes as possible, so why limit yourself by like gender? But fuck it. I actually like this scene because this is actually pretty strategic and everything.
Yeah, I also like it for that reason as well. It's just like, oh, wait, they're actually using tactics. Shit.
Yeah, and this is interesting. The way Momo actually gets out of the situation is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, they actually outsmart the girl who thought they were gonna win.
Yeah, which, okay, I have no issues with the entire fight, except for the last part where it's like, oh yeah, Momo is number one. Okay, so Momo creates this like big boombox or speaker or whatever. Earphone Jack uses her power to make a huge shock wave that knocks all of the girls out in order for her and the others to basically rack up the points and put their balls on them. Stop thinking that, you filthy perverts. And after that, like somehow the 100 IQ girl or whatever, who basically gains her IQ by sipping tea, which if I could have that power, give me some, because it works for me because I'm a tea guy and I could really use the IQ points because some shit really knocks it out. So basically still able to move and get the jump on Momo. There is no explanation for this. She just kind of does. Momo kind of tries to disarm her, and then Poppy and the others come in order to save her from getting jumped, and she was all like, wait, why did you go back for her? And like, why the fuck not? All your other teammates are already knocked out. They literally have nothing to lose. They make it seem like it's this big friendship moment when it's just being incredibly practical.
It's like, hey, there's an enemy. We outnumber them 5-1, and they're not very strong. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That makes no fucking sense. So, okay, Bakugo, Kirishima and Denki go to like a city district-like area, and they encounter another person from like the school that the Wind guy is from, named Seiji, and his power is kind of weird. Basically, his power is to basically just like morph his arms into these blobs. He launches them at people, and he basically compounds them into blobs and lumps of flesh. Pretty fucking morbid power, and also really, really roundabout. But okay, interestingly enough, of course, Kirishima and Bakugo get first. Or wait, is that the next episode?
No, they beat him. They beat him in that episode. Fight. They begin that fight. They beat him in the next episode. So episode 56.
Oh wait, hold on. Before that, interesting about this guy is that he has kind of a beef with Bakugo and the students at UA because he believes that pretty much that they pretty much like ruin UA's dignity and that properly represent them in their school and everything, which is actually a pretty interesting perspective that I wish had gotten a little bit more expanded upon. So like after that, we got some more funny gags with Aizawa and the funny chick, whatever, making observations about their classes and stuff. Deku, Uraraka, and a couple other students are still moving on ahead. And so, yeah, that's where the episode ends.
Okay, so episode 56?
Yeah. Like, the Earthquake Kid still continues fighting the UA students and stuff like that, and the two groups to hunt around, to try to hunt down the UA students and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, so everybody started to pretty much chaotically fighting because they're at a time limit. Oh, forgot to mention that. Oh well. Let's see.
It doesn't matter.
And the fight between the lump of meat kid, Seiji, and the three are starting. Of course, freaking Kirishima and Bakugo get hit first because they're kind of dumbasses. Well, specifically Kirishima. I'm pretty sure Bakugo was trying to take a hit for Denki or whatever, or he got outsmarted. I don't remember. Seiji basically explains that the licensing exam became stricter because they want a selection of the highest grade heroes and stuff like that. He plans to aid that process by eliminating those who are unworthy of becoming heroes, which is why when, in the previous episode, there were like a bunch of people turned to lumps of meat around him and everything. But it's kind of weird because it doesn't even show that he even got any points, which, okay. And that even as we find out later, after this fight ends, he didn't even collect the points from the people he trapped. So it's like, really doing yourself any favors here, kid. So Denki actually outsmarts the guy by using his new gadget to basically shock him. And yeah, that's actually pretty clever of him and everything. Although it's a one-hit KO, so it's not a very dynamic fight, and it's just a pony type thing. It was cool, but whatever. And after that, all the people started turning back into normal, so Denki, Bakugo, and Kaminari start to rack up the points, and we cut.
Okay, so they finished the first part of the test, and we move on to episode 57. So the next part of the test is their task of rescuing members of a company called the Help Us Company, which are basically professional people who pretend they're injured in disaster zones. Basically, they're trying to test the students, how they can operate in disaster zones and rescuing people and saving people. Which, by the way, there's probably a lot of heroes that could actually be very good at it, like the high pussycats and shit like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I also have a question. Like, why did they do this for the actual hero course to get into UA? Like, why didn't they do different types of tests? There's the combat test, and then there's the rescue test, and then there's the morality test or whatever the fuck. Wouldn't it be more efficient to have multiple tests?
Why didn't they do that if they cared that much about getting the better heroes instead of just having a test where everybody just blows up robots and shit, and just have this hidden system that wasn't even shown to the students that are taking it? It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, right. So anyway, they're rescuing people. Uchako is, trying her best. And also, in the middle of trying to save people, she's thinking about her fucking feelings for Deku. Fucking bitch, you need to save people. Think of your first later. Think of the 100% Detroit smash later.
I mean, to an extent, I can understand this, because it's yeah, one of the things that she admires about Deku is his willingness to help people and his confidence and all this other stuff. And she wants to, settle out understand these feelings and all this shit. All this makes sense if only the relationship was even worth a damn. And I wish that they just had her think about this while she's doing stuff, not just have her stand around like typical anime bullshit. It just wrecks the pacing, honestly.
Yeah, and the rest of the heroes are saving, they're setting up triage units and doing stuff. They're trying. And now the next part of the test is that a professional hero shows up to basically act as the villains that are gonna fucking stop them. And we meet...
Oh, wait. Before that, something interesting happens. Basically, Todoroki and... the wing guy, Inasa, start talking, and he basically says they weren't talking, I think he was talking to his team, but whatever. He basically says that, hey, he hates both Todoroki and his dad Endeavor because they're not impassionate and are kind of assholes, even though they're heroes. So, he met Endeavor when he was a kid, and, Endeavor wasn't having any of that shit. He was all like, hey, get the fuck out of my face, kid.
Yeah, Endeavor was probably just having a bad day, or he's just, an asshole. Obviously.
Yeah. And then, Todoroki, he met Todoroki in the entrance exam, the UA. And so, Inasa saw how dickish Todoroki is, and he's like, even though he actually gave Todoroki a chance, views are like, fuck this because he was an asshole and everything.
Like, if I remember correctly, he hit like Todoroki had the same look that Endeavor had in his eyes, the such cold eyes. And it's like you don't know what Endeavor's been through. Like, you don't know what Todoroki's been through. Like, there's tons of reasons why people would act like that. But some people are just naturally assholes like that, or some people have a reason for acting like that. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, honestly. Oh yeah, one other thing.
I think it's really fucking petty.
Go ahead.
I just think that's so fucking petty. It's just like, oh, his eyes are so fucking cold and yada 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 yada. Like some people are just naturally like that, and some people become that because of reasons. Like, it's so fucking petty. Like, you didn't even get a chance to fucking know Todoroki. Like, if you had actually tried to know him more, like, you'd actually.
He did try
once.
to get to that, to be fair, but honestly, like, not saying that first impressions are everything, but given how Todoroki acted, I wouldn't really blame the guy for having this sort of edge, but honestly, this aversion towards him.
Aversion, not fucking burning hatred. Like, it's not like you interacted with him more times, fucker.
Okay, so, like, one other thing, Deku kind of gets jumped by one of the chicks from the other school
again,
and we get more anime titty because
I think I mentioned that in like the episode it happened, but I think, does this happen twice? Yeah, it happens twice. I forget. That's right, it happens again.
Oh yeah, it happens
same
again.
Chick, same fucking chick, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think they talked about. Yeah, something about this chick. You guys gotta consider for later because it's gonna be real weird.
Oh, it's gonna be important. Trust me. So after trying to say people, So a new test arrives. So during the second test, there's another part of this test. Is that, can you save people while there's a villain attacking you? And who do they have? A pro hero. No, a team of heroes known as Gang Orca.
Yeah, Gang Orca, who's basically this whale fucker. And he has like a bunch of goons that basically have these weird blaster things. They're supposed to incapacitate the students and shit. So there's that. Oh, by the way, I think you should probably take over for episode 58 because I gotta take care of one other thing.
I'm not going to really say much about episode 58 because it's a filler episode for the movie, which I haven't watched, and I don't care about.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah, actually, I want to do a video on this episode in particular because there's something I'd like to consider, but
if you want, we can do an overview of the movie later if you want, and we could go back to this episode.
Movie yet, but whatever. We probably can. But anyways,
the only thing I'm going to say about episode 58 is I haven't seen the fucking movie, which I know this is a prologue to. I am going to ask the question, like, why the fuck do they have it in the middle of a fucking arc? Like, they could have done this like afterwards, or honestly, like an OVA. Yeah. Okie dokie. So Kaiser Shounen, after the completely pointless filler episode that we're probably not ever going to talk about ever again because there's no way in fucking hell I'm covering the filler movie, we're going to move to episode 59. Kaiser Shounen, start.
Oh, as opposed to episode 69, which would have made this a billion times as entertaining, but, whatever.
We'll get there once we reach season 4.
True. And we're already nearing episode 60 anyway, so hey. Anyways, just gotta give this a quick read. Okay, so, basically, the episode starts a little bit prior to the licensing exam itself, right before the bell, because, that isn't entirely jarring to the current stakes at all, but it's a little bit important. You see, the Hero Public Safety Commission was having a meeting before the license exam was started, and it was about how, hey, we're gonna do this test, but like, the charisma that All Might had, like, he was the big cheese, so that can't be filled in by a single by just any other person. So we need to prioritize having as many people, as capable heroes and prioritizing building them up as much as possible. Which honestly is a pretty interesting aspect of the impact that All Might has had on this society and everything. So that was pretty
it's
cool.
it's like if, say, Superman decided to retire or Spider-Man decided, hey, fuck it, I'm no longer going to be a hero. Like, I'm going to let someone else take up the cape or the spandex. Like, it actually does showcase that All Might has affected a lot of people, like, indirectly and directly. And I actually do think it kind of makes his retirement a bit more impactful, and maybe it would put more pressure on Deku to, you know, step up to the plate.
Yeah. Overall, this is a pretty sensible topic within the show, and it's really interesting. So, moving on from that, we were pretty much in the middle of the battle. You know, the battle's just starting. Gang Orca's, you know, goons in makeshift villain outfits started attacking the students, and like some people in stands or whatever. Or no, the guy who basically told everybody about the tests and everything was talking about, hey, we're going to grade everybody on the mistakes, based upon the mistakes that they had made during the second phase of the exam, which is basically the rescuing phase. So it's pretty obvious at this point who's going to get booted and who's not, so...
I mean, I like the idea of this test of, like, hey, what happens if there's emergency, but also, you're being attacked by the enemies that cause this emergency. Like, I think it's a very practical test. Like, I think it's one of the more practical tests that this fucking education system actually has. Like, it's giving them practical experience, like, hey, just because you're saving people doesn't mean that you're going to be safe to save them. Like, the criminals, or, say, like, a villain who did this disaster, he could still be around and he doesn't want you to save them. He wants to stop you. Like... very practical.
Yeah. Okay, so a bit after that, Deku was pretty much on the scene. He was telling the earthquake douchebag who betrayed him earlier to, hey, get the people out of here because, you know, Gang Orca's on the prowl and shit. And so it was the other way around. Sorry. So this guy named Yo, apparently, he basically went ahead and created earth tremors to basically stagger all the people that are attacking. So after that, Gang Orca used his own quirk, which is called Orcinus? I don't fucking
Basically,
care.
he's got the attributes of a fucking orca or a killer whale.
Including the ultrasonic sound waves and shit.
Which is
so
cool.
which basically allowed him to paralyze Yo with a single hit. So he just got one-shotted. Very practical for a pro hero anyways. Before, you know, Gang Orca was about to clap Izuku's cheeks, basically Todoroki showed up and saved him.
Fucking Wind Guy and Ice Guy, like, are basically, like, trying to fight the Orca, but they're doing attacks that affect each other, essentially.
Yeah, they pretty much get in each other's way, and,
and they're fucking fighting, and the Orca dude's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be working together, you fucking idiots.
Yeah,
like, if this was a real situation,
pretty much just what the shit are you guys doing?
Yeah, like, if this was a real situation, like, if he was a real villain, he would have just killed them right then and there. Because, oh, they're distracted. Oh, I can kill them. Slash, stab, they're dead. Oh, well, you know.
Basically. And yeah, during the whole thing, apparently all the Gang Orca's goons was using, like, cement guns, which... why they don't give these to most heroes, especially ones with, like, severely underpowered quirks to give them an edge over fights, I have no idea, but whatever, I guess.
Yeah, well, they didn't have the common sense quirk hasn't been revealed yet, so...
Oh, yeah, and, like, it hasn't even been revealed in the manga yet, so I'm still waiting on that plot twist, because, you know, we can't hope for this friggin' traitor plot twist to actually work, because, you know, guess what? Apparently the author kind of forgot about that.
Oh,
spoilers, I guess. But
oh, fuck me.
Not that was a thing. He forgot that was a thing in, like, an interview or some shit. So it's like, okay, guess there's no point in that. I mean, he's probably going to compensate for that later on, but whatever. That's an entirely different.
That's the skill. That is a skill of a masterful writer right there.
Yep, it subverts your expectations by having an author who does not remember his own shit that he established. It's very, very intriguing stuff, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, yeah. So fucking Windman and Todoroki are fighting they eventually decide to bury the fucking hatchet because it's their fucking dick measuring contest is going fucking nowhere. Especially because this is a fucking exam.
Yeah.
If they want to fight each other that much, they can take it outside after the exam is done and solve the differences that way.
Even Deku is all like, dude, what the fuck are you trying to do? What the hell are you? All right, we're having an exam right now. You can't afford to like just sleep on everything. Like, come on. So, later on, the battle keeps on raging on. One interesting aspect that got introduced was that, Yo kind of quickly recovered a little bit because from the tremors keep away some of the other psychic villains that are attacking the students. And it's mostly because, his quirk basically sends vibrations throughout his own body, so he's actually used to certain tremors like that, which I find an interesting aspect of the power system in My Hero. Certain quirks develop certain friggin'
immunities or resistances.
Yeah, immunities and resistances in certain characters and shit. I find that actually.
Well, if you think about Todoroki would be immune or at least resistant to like extreme temperatures like hot and cold because of his ability, right?
Oh yeah, he is. They actually established that. I think back in the training arc because his training involved like being in like a tub of water and having him just keep on using his quirk over and over again.
Yeah, and I would say it adds a bit of like tactics to the series because hey, you've got a character that is resistant against a certain thing. Like, what happens if Todoroki fights a guy who's a fire dude or an ice dude? Like, he's gonna be at an advantage because he is resistant to the damage that guy will create.
Yeah, basically, My Hero's power system in of itself is actually very, very interesting. It's kind of a bit similar to JoJo, where it's like mostly based upon matchups, or less JoJo and more like freaking One Piece, where it's mostly just based on the matchups of the superpowers themselves, rather than just straight up power.
Because some abilities will actually just overcome them because of what they can do, and you like in JoJo, it was more like the idea of what you can do with your powers, but in One Piece, it's more like, what can your power do compared to his power, and how can you use that power? Because, some, devil fruit powers against other devil fruits are actually, it puts some people at a severe disadvantage. Some of the shit that some devil fruits can do against, it puts other devil fruit users at a disadvantage because of the synergy or sort of how polar opposite they are.
Right.
And a good example of this was the guy, in Punk Hazard, where one half of the island's on fire and the other half is a frozen wasteland.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was done by 2 devil fruit users. And guess what? That was a fight, and that was a fight that happened, and the effects of their fight is still affecting the island a couple of years later.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and by the way, those devil fruit users, they had the power of ice, and I think one of them had a magma or a lava power or something like that.
Yeah, it's lava power.
Yeah.
I kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I actually like that ice dude from One Piece. He's actually a very cool dude. He's actually a very chill dude.
Aokiji is cool.
I actually like him. I wish he would join the Straw Hats because he has such an interesting relationship with Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And
but yeah, we're getting off topic talking about Kaiser Shounens and shit.
Yeah, we should one day maybe do a One Piece thing, but we should probably break it up into arcs instead. But fuck it. All right, so.
Alright, so, during the whole thing, basically, shit goes down to the wire, and, Todoroki decided to use his flames at their full power, and then Wind Guy joins in by, using his wind to push the trajectory of the flames, not only increasing their power, but also trapping Gang Orca in them. With, basically using a combined attack against them by putting aside their differences and shit.
Yeah, which I think is a really cool thing, but because there are some people's characters' powers that have really good synergy with each other, and if they work together, it's a devastating combination. Todoroki's flames became more intense because of the wind, because of the oxygen and stuff like that. And actually, if they actually teamed up, they would actually be a pretty good combination.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, during that whole thing, Deku, some of Class A, happened, fighting some of the other villains and getting away all the the stunt double hostages and shit to get that one off. And then Izuku tries to save Todoroki and Wing Dude after they basically drained all their powers, trapping him that whole time. And then basically after Deku clashed with him, the test basically ends.
Yeah, and a thing that we must notice is that, like, he actually managed to hurt Gang Orca, the main guy of it. He managed to hurt, like, the pro hero Orca, because if you look at... there was, like, because Orca was like, if this had been a serious fight, like, he could have seriously injured me. Like, I think there was a scene, because there's, like, a scene, underneath his skin or somewhere underneath his thing, there's, like, a crack in, like, his body or something like that, because of the heat and shit. And he's like...
Yeah.
If this kid went like 100%, he could have possibly knocked the fuck out. He could have knocked the fuck of me out. I think it was.
I mean, I think he said something like that. Entirely wrong either. I'm not sure how I feel about that. This just gives Deku a lot more main character wank status.
Deku, you're the best. Yes, more fucking Deku cocksucking. Do you want to go to episode 60?
Oh, wait. There's still a bit more of this episode. Basically, at the end of the episode, the test is over and everybody just goes into, like, the staging thing to see the names displayed on the board to see who passed and who didn't, And remember, this is, like, the first 100 people that passed.
Yep.
Episode 60. Why don't you start?
So episode 60... a lot of people get their licenses, including Deku, because, he needs a license. Oi, mate, you know, a license. Some characters fail. It doesn't really matter what. He gets his hard copy of his fucking license. It gives him the permission to act in emergency situations. Because, self-defense is immoral without your license. By the way, it's such fucking...
I don't know, maybe it's a Japanese thing. Maybe it's Japanese thing.
Maybe I'll look up. If I ever go in Japan, I'll ask them if, like, self-defense is considered immoral. The students that failed are told that in the next 3 months they can try again, so, they're gonna be heroes eventually. It's the law. Fucking...
And, like, Bakugo and Todoroki, Bakugo and Todoroki fail, both for legitimate, understandable reasons. They kind of fucked up for the most part in the test, especially Bakugo, because he wasn't even all that focused on saving people.
Yeah. Also, no, wait, I got wrong. There's, like, a test they can take to read in 3 months. It's like a remedial test, so it's like... It's almost like you did your best, but here, try this, and if you fail, then you're going to have to do it again with the actual proper thing.
Yeah, basically.
Now, as one of the other schools students depart, the woman that tried to molest Deku, they actually find out that she is missing.
Yeah, she pretty much just disappeared entirely.
And we actually see a scene, and after that, we cut away to a scene of her walking down an alley, and Kaiser Shounen, do you want to reveal the big plot twist here?
Now, you thought this was Cammy, but in actuality, it was he, Dio! I'm joking, because that would actually be a lot more exciting, but no, it was Toga.
The yandere! She is back! And by the way, what does she have in her hand?
Oh yeah, a drop of, Deku's blood, apparently.
Ooh, I wonder what they're gonna do with that. They have a drop of his blood. I wonder what they're gonna do with it. Ooh, so much excitement.
Yep. You'll find out in the 4th season, I'm sure.
All right. And we forgot to mention that Windman apologizes to Todoroki. He says, "I'm sorry, I was such a douchebag," but they may want to do that fight later on just to settle differences, because nothing solves differences more than beating the fuck out of each other.
Apparently.
All right.
I mean, which to each their own. The whole entire subplot with them. I'm not entirely against how they did it. Like, overall, I think they did an alright job.
It could be like a nice little rivalry. Like, it turned from, like, sort of dislike to maybe, like, a friendly rivalry. you know, where they like take pot shots at each other and maybe duke it out sometimes, but you know, deep down they, you know, they're kind of friends. I don't know, like, you know,
they respect each other's skills and all that shit.
Yeah, and they just like to fight. They just like to beat the fuck out of each other every now and then.
Yeah.
After that kind of scene, we see All For One talking of, you know, we see All Might talking for All For One, and you know, All For One is just kind of like teasing All Might, saying like, it's all going according to Keikaku and yada yada yada, and All Might's like, what the fuck does it mean? What the fuck does it mean? I don't have the common sense quirk, so I can't figure it out.
I mean, not entirely, because like All Might was just asking for like friggin', I'm pretty sure it was, for Tomura's location. My question is, why couldn't they have just brought in Shinso to basically mind control him into telling him where Tomura is?
Oh fuck! I forgot he actually existed. But shit.
I mean, granted, I'm guessing that All For One more than likely saw the sports festival, so he probably would have known about Shinso's quirk, so he wouldn't talk to him because you know his quirk is triggered by talking. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, also, who's to say that All For One doesn't have like a quirk, like in a stockpile that stops that from happening?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's unclear. Just reasonably speaking, he should not be in jail right now. But fuck it.
He actually should be dead, because I mean, this guy can absorb quirks. Like, and guess what? He's here with a bunch of other criminals, including Stain. And what do you think will happen?
They put Stain in there. Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck happens if he breaks out and he's like, "It's time for a shopping trip"?
Gotta catch them quirks. He's catching quirks like fucking Pokemon, bro. Gotta catch them all, right?
And then he like breaks out of jail, and he's stronger than he was before because he has more fucking quirks stockpiled up. And they're like, because like in that jail, like who fucking knows who they have in there? I mean, they have Stain, they have him in there, but this is a fucking society with superpowers. Like, who fucking knows who is in there, what powers they have? I mean, they must be incredibly dangerous if they're fucking in that jail in the first place.
Biggest jail in the entire series and shit, which is why I put the biggest bad guy in there, of course. But you know,
yeah, it's like having Master Balls in Pokemon and just capturing all the legendaries. Like, it's basically it's like, hey, want Arceus, dude? Oh, sure thing. Oh, God powers. Oh, thank you. Want Giratina? Want Lugia? You know, want Zapdos? Oh, thank you very much. You know, give me those legendaries, man. Oh, thank you, All Might. Man, you made this so much simpler than it had. You made it so much easier than it had to be. You know, putting me in a place.
Calling it right now. That's probably what they're going to do the moment he breaks out.
He's gonna fucking just like, he's gonna go to town on those people because.
Either he breaks out himself, or Tomura or some other informant of his is just gonna break him out of Taurus, and we're gonna have a whole arc about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Shadow Dude is also in that place as well. The teleport guy, like he's also in there as well.
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that they still have. No, wait, he is in there. Right. I forgot.
Yeah, the Shadow Man, like he's in there as well. So it's like. I'm kind of wondering, like, is he gonna like break everyone out or absorb their powers and then break out himself? Like,
why not a little of both, honestly?
Well, it's obvious that's what's gonna fucking happen. I mean, when you have a guy that can absorb other people's powers, you know, this is the best place to be.
Muscular is in there. I think Muscular should be in there.
Oh fuck me! Oh boy. You know, if he does break out, you know, and he releases all the criminals, you know, it'd be a really cool thing. If fucking Stain comes back.
I'm honestly, I'm counting the days until that happens anyways, because I'm pretty sure Horikoshi would be brain dead to just, like, leave Stain just not involved in that sort of event if that were to happen.
I mean, you know, let's go into fan fiction for a second, and then we'll continue with the episode. But like, imagine if they like break out, the prison gets trashed, and Stain, you know, leaves. But Stain's like, all these criminals have escaped. You know, I'm gonna go back to jail, but before I do that, I'm gonna capture and round up these criminals before they cause chaos. Because Stain, Yeah, I mean, and that would be a cool arc for Stain, and like Deku and stuff see him, and Stain's like, I will go to jail, but let me, stop these villains first. Then you can take me back to jail, or something like that. Or I'm not gonna fight you. I'm not gonna fight you, Deku. These villains are the bigger threat.
And Deku will be all right. Okay, fine, but no killing.
Honestly, I would actually really like to see that. Like him and Stain working together. That'd be such a cool fucking episode or an arc.
Depending on how they did, it sure as hell would help to make Stain's existence less irrelevant in the narrative. But...
All right, so let's continue with the episode. So that night,
after the talk with All For One, All Might gets a message that basically, Izuku had basically gotten his license, hooray and all that. So that night, when most of the students were like going to bed and everything, Bakugo
they're just resting for the day because they've had a long day and they need to sleep and stuff. So
and so like Bakugo just called up Deku and tells him to meet him outside. And like once everyone's there, they go to one of those big training grounds and shit where they had basically where they had the first exam or the first combat training in UA.
Yeah.
And, basically, this is Bakugo pretty much telling him to square up. And, like, Bakugo basically just calls out Deku on the fact that, more than likely, Deku's All Might's successor. Like, he this is basically his way of accepting the fact that, hey, his biggest idol just accepted Deku as, like, the next big hero due to his message at the end of the All For One fight.
Yeah, and also where the episode ends. Yeah, and also the fact that Deku has similar powers to All Might. I mean, that's oddly suspicious. Yeah. And also the fact that All Might seems to hang around Deku quite a bit. Like, oddly suspect.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so episode, 61, they have their fucking fight. It's like whatever.
It was a pretty good fight though. Like, honestly, among all the fights in the series, this is literally the best one.
Yeah. There's actually a very cool quote that he says, that Explosion Man says, or Bakugo says, he says, like, why am I the reason for All Might's end?
Oh, yeah, that is also true. He clearly feels like guilty and freaking, not emasculated, but fucking a lot of responsibility because he feels that since he got captured, All Might basically had to retire because of him, and so that he feels he needs to step up.
Yeah, because All Might used up pretty much all the strength he had left in that one fucking fight. I mean, he was going to retire anyway. I mean, that was assured, but it wasn't going to be that soon.
Honestly, I feel like they could have done a little bit of a better way to portray his guilt, but then again, they did have that one small scene during the provisional license exam, which, honestly, if I were to, before we go on, if I were to, like, I guess cap off my whole thoughts on that arc specifically, mostly isolated from everything else, it functions just fine. There isn't any big issues with it like in the other arcs. This is the pretty much just very holistic and very understandable. Yeah. And I think that now, granted, the world building involving how the provisional license works is fucking broken, and we might need to come back with a video because I don't know which MHA video I saw, but it said something about, like, none of this shit makes any sense because, hey, you're already cutting down on so many heroes, potential heroes, for no reason with the provisional license, the entrance exam, where, the only kids who can smash robots can get into the hero course, and then you have only 2 hero course classes, and then you only have, in the minus that even further, you have like only like maybe 500 people or some shit. I don't know what they said in the last couple of episodes before the test started, but originally only like maybe nearly 1,000 kids out of all the kids in all the schools could get a provisional license, thereby cutting down how many active heroes they can have on the field. I don't know where that video is. If someone in the comments, so please post that video in the comments because I want to review that shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that 10 of the people that'll actually be watching this may have it. So you 10 people out there, please hook my buddy Kaiser up.
Right, like I need to like, this is basically our job, right? We're picking apart this series piece by piece and everything.
Yeah,
so I need to have my facts straight. So back to the battle.
Yeah, continue.
So this is a really, really awesome fight because unlike in most of the other fights, there's actual choreography, like freaking choreography on top of the on top of all the great colors and the incredible animation and shit.
Yeah, and also because Deku has sort of learned how to master his quirk a bit more, there's not going to be this like, oh Deku, you're being reckless, and the fight ends in like a second. Like, no, they're actually on even, like, they're actually, like, Deku can actually fight back and not have to worry about fucking up his arm or legs.
Yeah. Again, this seems like an actual, like, fucking fist fight and shit, dude. Like, these guys are just going friggin' at it, and they're doing all these kicks and flips and stuff. Like, this is something that you would see, friggin' Naruto a little bit.
Or a kung fu movie, like one of those Chinese or Japanese kung fu movies, which are actually pretty good, by the way, because they actually have real martial artists do them, so...
Yeah, basically. So, like, yeah, the fight, and this is basically capping off at least parts of Bakugo and Deku's development, because, usually it's like Deku just proving that Bakugo that, yeah, he can be a hero too, but this is also development for Bakugo as well, seeing as how, hey, he's still trying to step up, he's still trying to become better, and that he wants to prove his own worth, not just by some bullhardy sense of entitlement, but because of his own efforts that he earned for himself.
Yeah, and I also feel like, the guilt that basically, like, All Might basically gave up his career for him, and Bakugo's like, you're the one who's chosen by All Might, but I will also want to be worthy of that. Like, why is it just you? And, like, honestly, even though I dislike Bakugo, I do like the sort of these little character arc that he's having, because it's what's the word?
What did you say?
Oh no, I was just talking about that. While I dislike Bakugo, I do like these little character segments he has. It's very I forgot the fucking word for it, but
it's very compelling.
Yeah, compelling.
Because it's very nuanced. Separate because these vignettes of like his moments of actual development in the show are some of the best well-done scenes in the entire story. I will never deny that. So as a whole, Bakugo is a very a well-constructed character. It's just that the moments in between that just kind of makes him way more annoying than he needs to be.
Yeah, all right. So after the fight, All Might sort of goes onto the scene.
Oh, by the way, Bakugo wins. Spoilers.
RIP.
Which again is actually interesting because this is basically capping up Bakugo's development. He's taking Deku seriously. He isn't trying to like just move by his own, be ruled by his ego. He is in control of his ego, and he's pushing forward and actively, achieving the grand ambitions that are required of him.
Yeah.
So, after that, this is a moment where they actually become, I guess, proper, even rivals. They have a bit more of a friendly rivalry rather than a sort of, like, antagonistic one.
Yeah, where Deku's, like, sucking his cock and Bakugo's, like, being his fucking bully boy.
As, now they're both sucking each other off. It's like, yeah, it's great. Because, Deku's all like, hey, I'm going to keep moving higher too, and I'm going to get stronger even after I lost here. So a lot like friggin' Sasuke and Naruto. This is a 1-for-1.
Yep.
This is 1-for-1 for both of them.
Alrighty. So All Might sort of comes onto the scene. He says that they need to be like proper rivals and shit, and like telling them to calm the fuck down. Like they've had their little scrap, but it's time to go back to bed.
Yeah, and basically that, yay, Bakugo knows about everything going on with, like, One for All and shit.
Yeah, and all Might say is from to shut the fuck up and keep that shit quiet.
Yep. Okay, so, after that, Eraserhead, bitches at them and tells them that, hey, you just kind of broke the rules, like, what the fuck are you doing? You
would think there'd be actually consequences, but what happens?
Yeah, they're about to face consequences, but like All Might's all like, "Hey, chill out, just give them house arrest, whatever." And he's all like, "Fine, I'm too old for this shit. It's way too late at night for this shit, anyways. I don't fucking care." Damn. I know that's not how he actually said it.
I know we're just paraphrasing, but damn, like no consequences. I'm so bored.
I feel like at least in this case, it's a hell of a lot more bearable because there was a lot more to benefit from this whole conflict anyways.
Yeah, so... I know, but like when I went to boarding school, if I was like if I didn't come in and I stayed out late when I was supposed to come in, like I would get yelled at and shit and get punished.
I mean, they got yelled at and they got punished, but it wasn't all that.
Oh no, at my old boarding school, I once mouthed off to the teacher and he made me scrub the entire gym floor with a toothbrush.
Eesh.
And I was there for a few hours.
God damn. Well, technically, this is
And by the way, I was like 13 at the time, and he watched me scrub that entire gym floor from top to fucking bottom with the toothbrush.
Technically, they did the same thing here because, like, after the fight, Bakugo and Deku have to basically like vacuum the freaking living room in their like boarding house and shit. And like, hey, Class A is teasing them about, whoa, hey, you guys got scrap again last night? Like, holy shit, guys. What the fuck, bro? What? Are you guys crazy? So, again, they did punish them similar to what you were talking about. So I don't and also there's a little nice moment after that where it's like, hey, Bakugo is like, hey, you need to work on your shoot style a little bit.
All right. Do you want to move to the next episode? Episode 62?
Oh, yeah, it's 62. It's like, okay, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, I think you should do the next two, the last two, because these last two are the ending episodes for season 3, and we'll finally be fucking done with this overview.
Oh, yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think I want you to go for the home stretch.
Okay. Just let me take a quick read of this. The episode starts with, one of the villains from the League of Villains twice, and it is natural habitat, you might say. He's waking up in the morning. I
actually like what he looks like underneath that mask, underneath his costume. He actually kind of looks kind of cool. Like, he kind of gives off the sort of grizzled criminal, I'm too old for this shit kind of look.
Basically. I mean, that's basically, his whole character underneath, that whole, like, split personality bullcrap. So he was listening to like the news and shit where it's like, hey, there's a lot of unease with the public they are having about like, All Might stepping down and Endeavor being number one because where he's All Might, is kind of people and like always is about like helping others and just being a kind guy to everybody. Endeavor's just a rough, gruff dude, really vibing with that, and there's just this general unease and tenseness surrounding the whole society regarding that. It does make sense, I do agree that would happen.
Yeah, it's like what happens when you have like you have this really cool king, and he's like dies or retires, and his son or whoever takes over is a fucking like pompous douchebag, and you're like, holy fuck, we want the old guy back. Fuck this guy.
Yeah. So and like Twice is arguing with his personality and shit and whatever.
Yeah, they're kind of like just debating and shit. And actually, as we go, we do see, like, some crime. Like, I think what happens is more, like, crime starts to go on the rise again as well in the society because of, like, All Might's retirement and shit. And, more criminals are rising up from the fucking sewer works.
I mean, I guess, but it doesn't necessarily really feel that way because we've been seeing villains popping up since, like, episode 1. So, I don't know. It feels a lot less tangible. I guess it's supposed to be because, you know, in the first episode, each of the villains that we saw, aside from the League of Villains, you know, in the first season, were like just villains operating on their own. You know, a coalition of like people going around running rampant and shit.
Yep.
You know, that doesn't seem unprecedented. But then again, it's a lot less easier of a pill to swallow here because, you know, Twice looks like he lives in a very, very, very rundown neighborhood anyways, that I'm pretty sure it would probably already have crime.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe that could be an interesting discussion of how people turn to crime because, you know, they live in sort of like a ghetto or a rough part of society and they do such things in order to survive and yada, yada, yada. Like, they could always mention that, but, you know, no, we can't have nuance or differing opinions.
Yeah. So, you know, basically the League of Villains are trying to go around trying to recruit more people, but like, Dobby's going around being emo, killing a bunch of paid criminals because, you know, he doesn't see them as worthy of, like, joining.
I mean, they would make useful grunts, though. Like, you know, you need someone to grab your coffee or someone to, like, do your laundry.
Yeah. And, like, after that, you know, Dobby, no, not Dobby, Twice was, like, talking to, other guy in the League of Villains. And, like, you know, his personality, he felt like he was splitting apart, which it's some kind of, you know, weird psychosis thing he's got going on. So he takes off his mask so that he can, like, stay himself. And then he just suddenly just goes into his backstory.
Oh, boy.
So, his backstory is that, like, okay, look, Twice's quirk, you know, like we said, allows him to clone people. He basically clones, and he basically, like, cloned himself into, like, a team of, criminals, right, that eventually start to, go up against him. So, apparently the clones have their own personalities, apparently.
Oh, that's kind of terrifying.
You know, just imagine if, like, this happened in Naruto, basically. I think there was a filler episode about that, actually.
Yeah, where the shadow clones, like, take over, and it basically becomes a thing of, like, who's the real you, essentially, as well. Like, it's like...
Yeah. And that's the thing that gets brought up with him, because, like, you know, the slaves were just wilding out and trying to be, you know, they're pulling there can only be one shit going on. And then they start killing each other to the point where there was only one left, and Twice isn't even sure if he's the real guy.
And that would be an interesting concept to talk about. Like, is he really the real Twice, or is he just like a copy who just survived? Because he doesn't know. Because, like,
no, I mean, you might say that, hey, well, he should be Twice because he's still able to use his quirk, but we don't even know. We don't even know. We're pretty sure that, like, the other Twices could use their quirks too, and even the clone of Dobby that he created in the training camp arc was able to use his quirk and just the same effectiveness. So, like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if he is, I think his power still works. Like, basically, as long as he doesn't die or one of his clones dies, like, he still lives. So, and then it asks the question is, like, do these clones have souls? Are they actually, like, individual people? Like, is he just like a clone or a copy of someone who has died and gained his own awareness and some shit like that? Because, you know, just because you're a clone of someone does not mean that you will become the same with them, exactly the same, because you may have different experiences as them. Or your worldview may be slightly different. I mean, blank slate or human nature debate aside, I mean, like, is he the actual real Twice, or is he just a copy of someone who has died? And that would be a very interesting, that's a very interesting concept for a character.
Yeah, and this makes Twice 100 times more interesting than most of the characters in the show, honestly. So, like, his whole motivation behind, like, joining the League of Villains is that, hey, I wanted some place where I can belong, where I can interact with, like, crazy people like myself. That's interesting. I mean, it's weird how they kind of dropped that on us, where it was barely all that, you know, foreshadowed or anything. But hey, it's already been established that he's pretty fucked up anyways.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, it kind of feels like he wants a family or friends. Like, because I think he gets lonely just talking to his fucking self all the time. Or... so continue.
Yeah, so after that whole scene, a bunch of villains were just walling out trying to steal some shit. And then the main villain of the next arc, Overhaul, shows up and basically just decimates them all.
Yeah, and I'm still wondering why they're getting rid of these people, because even if they're weak, I mean, they can still make useful minions or servants.
I mean, yeah, but, Overhaul is a mafioso guy. Spoilers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they say it in this episode, so whatever. So it would make sense that he wouldn't want petty criminals in his gang. At least the way he wants to run it.
I mean, I understand having standards, but you don't have to kill them. You can just beat the fuck out of them and just say, like, you're not worthy. You're not up to snuff. So come back later. If you're really serious about joining, then train and become stronger.
I mean, they weren't trying to join anyway, so
all right.
They were just doing their thing.
Okay.
But whatever. So back in UA, Deku was lifting weights. And he notices that he hasn't really been hurting all that much since his fight with Muscular, which, okay, that makes sense because he hasn't even been using his arms anyways, so that kind of makes sense.
And by the way, he can still use his arms to punch and stuff. He's just it's not his main combat style, essentially.
Yeah. Then after that, all the Class A were, like, outside in, like, the sporting grounds or whatever. And, like, the freaking copy kid from Class B is basically heckling them because, like, 2 of their students failed the exam while everybody in their class basically passed.
Yeah, just...
and then there's this pony chick from Class B who basically just, anyways, that tells them that, hey, we're going to be having classes together from here on out, which, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's also a freaking meeting, like, All Might has with the principal, fucking talking about sleep and, offering All Might, it's a flashback, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's basically, hey, you need proper sleep and rest and also be a teacher since, you've got to do something in your fucking spare time. We also get introduced to another pro hero called Hound Dog.
Yeah, I think I mentioned him a couple episodes ago, but yeah, it's Hound Dog, and basically just think Wild Mutt the person.
Yeah, and so we get back to class, and we hear that they're going to doing some hero internships, which makes me wonder, why the fuck do they have to bother with the fucking sports festival if they were going to get a hero internship anyway? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Also,
hell, this was so dumbfounding that even Ochako was like a bit just frantic about it. Like, yeah, what's the point of working so hard in the sports festival if we can just get internships anyways? And it's like, I mean, in a way, I kind of understand why they're doing it like this. It's mostly because, they're allegedly saying that the crime rate and the villain activity has been increasing way more than usual. So, they have to compensate by just rushing out as many heroes and getting them as much experience as possible. But what me a little bit is that, again, the absolute activity in regards to the villains and their influence is mostly said and barely shown all that much. So we don't really feel the true gravity and weight of this decision.
This series could use a bit of like show don't tell, but fuck it. Anyway,
yeah.
After that, we get introduced to the Big Three.
Yep. We get Emo Sasuke, who has this weird freaking I guess inferiority complex. We got typical girl who's happy about everything, and then we have Lucas from Earthbound. Apparently, don't question it. He's just here.
Okay. Do you want to go to the last episode 63, because we need to fucking wrap this bitch up.
You start off first and I'll follow behind.
All right. So episode, 63, we get introduced to the Big Three, apparently. they have tons of experience with hero courses, and apparently they're just like one of the best and brightest students that UA has at the moment. Why the fuck why the fuck we haven't been introduced to these guys sooner? I have no clue. Like, having people like this would have been really fucking useful for when the villains attacked the school grounds, or when the villains attacked the fucking other training ground, or when the fucking Nomu were attacking, or yada yada yada.
Oh, yeah, but I think there's an understandable reason for that, is that it's the fact that they were pretty much far... In the first attack in the hero school, you know, they were just going in the training grounds where, like, the first years were going. No one expected for villains to just show up there. And the reason why, like, All Might was near the area was that All Might was going over to there anyways, and Ito warned him. He had to bust his ass in order to run fast enough to warn him about it. In the training camp, you know, okay, that's when I say, yeah, they probably could have brought these guys in for, like, extra protection, even, like, giving them some lessons about, you know, proper core control or whatever.
I mean, it would help. Like, some of the students grasp it. It's like, you know, in Naruto, we have like the teams of the Genin, and you have like, a mid, what's the fucking ranks in Naruto? Because,
I don't remember.
I don't remember. But, like in Naruto, they had, the new ninjas paired up with, I think it's a Jonin or something like that. Yeah, Jonin, like an experienced ninja. They had them, paired up with an experienced ninja, and I think they also had them, And I think in some cases they also had like sort of like a middle of the road ninja as well to sort of help them grasp like concepts and stuff as well, if I remember correctly. Like, but yeah, but like in the Naruto sort of system, like even the new ninjas are always paired up with an experienced mentor on hand, and but the way they do their teams are fundamentally different anyways. But I do understand that we probably wouldn't better off just understanding the scaling within the school beforehand. Like maybe have like, Deku interact with the friggin' second year hero students in UA or something like that. Or because
this anime World Trigger, that's basically like 50% of the show, just the characters of different ranks within, the organization border, just, kicking it with each other and interacting with each other and shit.
I mean, in my schools, I've literally hanged out with people that are like, sort of lower in the year status than me because I'm like an elder student or I'm a younger student and they're trying to teach you shit. Like, I mean,
yeah, this basically would serve to better understand, how far do the kids really need to go? Because having All Might, come in and beat the shit out of Nomu does kind of the same job, but it's a lot less gratifying. Fuck, I can't talk today. When you understand that, hey, this is the number one hero, and up against a bunch of like 15-year-old kids, of course he would be this strong. But when paired up with a slightly higher class, it would be a lot less daunting of a scale.
Yeah, actually, why don't we see any of the second year and third year students? Like, I don't think, have we actually seen any of them?
No, we haven't.
Minus these three, which I think are third years. So where are the second years? Where are the second year students? Where are the senpais and the kohais? Fucking Japanese school. This Japanese school is fucked.
Yeah, this ain't a real Japanese school. We don't have senpais trying to getting noticed, goddammit.
Like, isn't it the fucking idea of Japanese school? Is that you have like your senpai that shows you the rope, and then you got your kohai who you're teaching. I know like in Japan they have that little like sort of like mentor student system there, where you stick with your senpai, he'll teach you the ropes.
Yeah.
But it's also more of a cultural thing as well, because in like East Asian cultures they tend to respect like wisdom more and old people more because of like the wisdom they have and gained. We should really stop thinking about culture now because we're talking about the show. But I find it really odd that they've never met any of the second year students or any of the third years. Like, where's the fucking mentorship there?
I'm just guessing that, Horikoshi just with character designs for him and just move on. Because, that's about, 20 plus characters you would need to come up with.
It doesn't have to be 20 plus. You could just say, this guy's from, second, this dude and this guy and this chick is from class 2B. They're going to be your senpai for the year. And it's they don't have to introduce the entire class, but at least a few people. So at least we know they're fucking there.
That is true. With World Trigger, it's understandable why they did introduce all of them, but all of them are just in relatively small, people within their ranks, because people of that level of skill are relatively hard to come by in that organization, and that makes sense.
Yeah, and actually having the younger students, I haven't seen World Trigger, but I may watch it sometime, but having...
You should.
Yeah, well, having the newbies see the more experienced members... would probably help them, because, hey, here's a person who can actually relate to them. They're my first year, I was a bit scared, I struggled, but this is how I dealt with it, instead of, talking with a teacher, because, a teacher can understand and relate, but I think it's more impactful if it comes from, a student who's, it's like how, Kakashi from Naruto, he tries his best to teach the students, but evidently it's more they have to sort of teach themselves, because he's so far up there as far as ninja ranks go. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Even though the only thing he taught Naruto was to climb a fucking tree before Shippuden.
Yeah, I know that. I know, but I mean, at least he tries, but I think it's easier when it comes from a ninja who is not exactly at his level, but sort of in that in between. Because it gives it gives you a perspective of where it's I can't do this certain thing, and this other ninja goes it's okay, I had trouble doing that too, all right, everyone has trouble with that. It's all right.
We harped on this point way too long.
I know I'm rambling.
So the big three, and I understand that, and this is and I do agree that is a pretty huge missed opportunity in the show, and it could further the themes of the story, among other things, but fuck it, whatever. That's just less unfunny gags that we need to sit through. So the big three get introduced. We got Tom, who has an excessive inferiority complex, as you could see. Well, not inferiority complex, just more self-loathing. Could be funny, but it isn't. You got the preppy girl, Nejire, or Hado, the dark Hado. But anyways, call her Hado, and she does this joke where it's oh yeah, she's kind of frantic and rapidly asks questions. Just the pretty quirky girl, and that's also... I mean, the jokes aren't bad, they just don't really land all that well.
Yeah, it's like the jokes in the series is kind of fucking... it's like throwing shit on a dartboard and seeing what sticks. And, most of them are either cringy or I get, a heh out of them.
Yeah, just a mild chuckle at most. But anyways, the last guy, Mirio, who I'm going to be called Yoked Lucas for the rest of this review, and you cannot fucking stop me.
Oh, don't worry, we'll probably talk about Lucas more in Season 4, once we get to that point.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get to that. So, he decides, you know what? Fuck it. The best way to understand what everybody's capable of is if everybody just scraps. So, almost everybody in Class A except for Bakugo, because I don't think he's there at the moment.
No, he still has to sweep. Get back to the chores.
So, everybody decides to fight freaking Mirio. I'm sorry, Yoked Lucas. And I'm talking yoked because, basically this dude's power is basically Shadowcat from, X-Men. He can move through solid objects and shit. He can be intangible. So essentially, he's kind of invincible. And, under maybe a few seconds, right? Laid out almost everybody in Class A at that moment. That's over 10 people just done with. And half naked, too.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering, if this guy is strong, what are the other fucking 30 years like? What the fuck is the power scaling in this?
Yeah. Also, if he's that friggin' fast and with just physical training alone, shouldn't that just raises the higher point that these kids should have been taught martial arts a lot sooner. Just saying.
Or maybe they have a course in their third years. It's like, hey, want to learn kendo or like kung fu? Like that's gonna be the fucking reason. Is like when Boku no Hero reaches like third year, we're gonna find out it's like, oh, we have a martial arts course. Because remember, that common sense quirk hasn't been, introduced yet, so everything, we just have to fucking, like fucking question it, like we're doing already, because apparently we have the common sense quirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also hindsight being 2020 and whatever the fuck. So, continue.
Right. And, I think, like, a couple of them comment that, hey, friggin' Mirio has been trained by a certain very, powerful hero, so he has practically the most skill out of everyone else. Effortlessly just destroys all of them, and then like he just goes in towards Todoroki, and then like Todoroki thought like, hey, this is a good way to try to take him because Mirio's the closest thing to like on his way to becoming number one at this point, so he needs to get. But then like, hey, Todoroki decides no, he's not going to fight because he doesn't have his provisional license, which that's fucking stupid. It's training. What the hell are you talking about?
Oi, mate, you have your training license, mate. Oi, mate, license, mate. It's funny, every time I hear the fucking license bullshit, I'm gonna do that fucking same joke, because honestly, it's like, this fucking license bullshit is a joke that is just, it's fucking overstayed its welcome, and that's why I'm gonna make the same joke, because I'm also gonna overstay its welcome as well.
Yeah.
Because I can, because fuck you, it's my channel.
So, basically everybody tries to fight Mirio, including Deku, but they all just get their asses kicked, which... Okay, if a guy who, I don't know, it's kind of weird how, really all that the staying full cal is supposed to be when any trained freaking, I don't know, guy who worked out for more than 2 years could keep up with him, but whatever. But yeah, his quirk is basically making him invincible anyways. And basically, how it works is that he can go through anything. He can go through the floor, and Mirio kind of just propels himself from inside the ground, activating his quirk while he's falling into it, which kind of creates this sort of slingshot effect.
Which is actually very interesting. How he's using his quirk in such imaginative ways. Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like, he said that, hey, while I'm using my quirk, I can't basically use any of my bodily senses while I'm using it, which is kind of weird because he stuck his head out from, like, a wall and a couple episodes ago, but whatever.
Don't question it, just go with it.
Yeah, but, yeah, he was basically telling them that, hey, I got this good... from basically working hard and training with pro heroes and doing all this other cool shit.
Yeah. So, do you want to... after this sort of training session, after this sort of, like, the senpai beats the fuck out of the kohai, we cut back to the League of Villains.
Yep.
And Overhaul makes his appearance.
Overall, once again, makes his appearance. And then, like, during that, a certain hero, more than likely the hero that, friggin' Tamaki was talking about, is getting a message from his assistant that Overhaul has made contact with the League of Villains. Yep. Like, twice basically brings in Overhaul to meet up with the other members and shit. And basically the episode and the season ends with them commenting that while the heroes are getting stronger, so are the villains, and shit is about to go down. And that is Boku no Hero
Season 3.
Yep. And that's pretty much it.
Oh, fucking hell, we're finally done. So, ending thoughts?
Okay, so... Taking the arcs individually, the training camp arc... Again, is probably the worst one out of the 3 that were introduced this season. No doubt about it. the training camp, I guess, with the All for One arc, I guess, because it had some issues with like the logistics of the training in regards to the students, some lack of character development from other characters, and just in general, just the Deku getting even more wanked up to the max for no fucking reason, and and while it did introduce certain ideas and interesting details that some of which actually got paid off, it just served to keep the show in a very average take. That's that arc. And like again, we meet up with the biggest villain in the entire series, and why does that fight feel less climactic and less good than the fight at the end of the season where with Deku and Bakugo squaring up and shit? That's just stupid to me.
Skillfully subverts expectations. Gave me the feels. My Hero Academia is the greatest battle shonen over here. Rich characters, deep plot.
Yeah, but like aside from that, the provisional license arc is where halfway in the series, the season is where things get a little bit better. There's a little bit equal parts of other characters getting shine, and like we're seeing a lot more strategy being used with the other characters, and the fights feel a lot more dynamic because this is where they put in most of the budget anyways. So the second half of the season is basically the highlight of it, but overall it still has the same issues as the other seasons in the show, which said I don't fundamentally have a problem with, because one takeaway I need to give here, people, is that when I harp on the show, I'm not harping on it because that every single show needs to be like Avatar: The Last Airbender levels of good. That's fucking ludicrous. We would not have Avatar: The Last Airbender when every show is Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know what I mean? Sometimes we need average shows like My Hero. But the deal with My Hero, the deal with any work in evaluating where it fits on the spectrum of whether it's good, bad, or average, or painfully average, and My Hero falls in the painfully average category, is that it's all about intent. It's all about the intent of the show itself. The My Hero reeks of a show that is trying to seem a lot more, having a lot more depth than just an average, dumb, fun, quirky action show. It thinks it's a 7 out of 10 when it's really a 5. And that gets very frustrating when you're just seeing the show presented in this way. Granted, it stinks a lot less here than the other seasons, which I feel like, this is probably the least bad season of the entire show. But overall, I just feel like the show is just keeping on with this track record. And let's be honest, I've read the manga. It doesn't really change in quality from there. I might reevaluate things as we go on, but overall, the show is fine.
I pretty much have the same opinion. Like, there's some highlights, there's some stuff that really just drags it down. Like, and it's really disappointing because, like, season 3, you see, like, especially in season 3, you see more glimmers of good ideas. You see some potential, like, you see it's like a string dangling, and you're trying to grab it to pull it down to find these great ideas. But evidently, it just fizzles out, and it's really annoying. Like, it really frustrates me. Like, Boku no Hero is just still at this point still painfully average, and maybe that will change as we continue these overviews. Maybe it won't, but I just want to tell people that, listen, it's not. And I'm going to top off this overview with this. It's not this amazing deconstruction, subversive battle shonen. It's just middle of the road. And I say to people who say that, watch other battle shonens. Watch other shonens, for fuck's sakes. Like, there are better battle shonens out there, all right? And granted,
in fact, I'm willing to like forgive like shows like Demon Slayer, for example, because that's an average show that knows that it's average, but doesn't throw in a bunch of pseudo pretentious presentation that makes it seem even a little bit bigger than it actually is. It sticks to what it knows.
Well, let me just wrap it up and then we're done with this fucking recording. Like, I just want to ask people, when people say, oh, it's subversive, it's a deconstruction, deep characters, deep plot, I just want to ask these people, please watch other shit and then come back to me. Because when you watch other shows and see what other shows do, you'll definitely see that My Hero Academia is a very painful average. Like, I've seen, like, for example, Yu Yu Hakusho, like, or Hunter x Hunter. Like, those are very good shows, very well done characters. Like, stories kind of like, you know, dips in quality, rises in quality, you know, it's whatever. But, you know, like, those are shows that have interesting characters. And, you know, and for battle shonens, they're actually very well done. And I just want to say, I just want to top them off and say, please, before you say shit like that, please, just watch other things before you go like, oh, he doesn't like Boku no Hero, it's a deconstruction, oh, you're stupid, you can't see the brilliance, like, please, for the love of God, watch other shit, please.
We're not trying to dissuade anybody from liking the show, but we're even thinking that's great. If there are some objective reasons for why it's this great thing that you want to discuss with us, I'd be happy to discuss it with you guys. I've done it with plenty of people in my time.
Yeah,
so
and hey, you know, hey, just like, hey, if you want to join in these overviews, you're welcome to come. Message me. Like, if you seriously want to be in some of these overviews, like, message me. We'll organize a time. We can talk about it. Fuck, I don't mind. Like, hey, you could fucking just go on a video. I could just record you talking about how great Boku no Hero is, and I'll just put in some counterpoints. Like, hey, if you want to do that, the door is open. Like, you know, hey, we could do like a video where me and Kaiser here, we'll have two other people who think it's amazing, and we'll throw counterpoints. Like, hey, the door is open, so, you know, message me. I'm on Discord. I'm on Twitter. Like, you can message me. It's completely open. I have a My Anime list. Like, go, message me. Come on.
Buy my merch. Oh, man. But, yeah, overall, we're not trying to sway people from the show. We're just giving an objective assessment on it. We could be wrong about it, and if we are, then, you know, let's have at it. But up to now, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, so you know, the door is open, you know. If you want to, you know, if like, hey, I don't mind someone coming on and having like a different point of view for this particular overview. Like, I would, you know, if you're some Boku no Hero super fan and you want to explain, oh, you're all wrong and blah blah blah, like, come into this overview. Like, come in, you know, talk about the episode with us. Like, I don't care if we disagree or not. It'll make a fucking great video regardless, because we're getting a different point of view. Because most of the time we're shitting on the show. So come in. But anyway, after that, I think we should just end it right now, because the current episode length for this is going to be like 3 fucking hours, and I'm the poor autist who has to edit this shit. But my +5 autism will help me power through it. So this is.
You have your common sense quirks, so I think that evens out.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So this is by so Kaiser Shounen. Do you want to say goodbye to our lovely 10 viewers?
Yeah, it's been a ride. Doing this. You know, it's a small crowd, but I appreciate you guys checking in if you do bother to check in. You know, I'm always around. I still don't have my own YouTube channel yet, but I'm going to have one soon because I have some interesting projects. You know, I'm trying to scrounge about whenever I'm not too busy with.
Yeah, well, you know, RL stuff
IRL
is yeah, you know, RL shit, you know, takes precedent because you need to feed and, you know, do what you need to do.
You know, I got family to feed and all that.
He's got kids to feed, a deadbeat wife.
Just a barefoot wife in the kitchen. But yeah.
All right. I'm gonna. Okay, so this is Bio Gundam signing off, and see you for the next overview or whatever other videos I do in the future, or other videos I do with Kaiser Shounen. Because I think after we do this Boku no Hero shit, we'll move on to another series. Because God fucking damn.